On Taiwan, they're marking what is known as Double 10, the 10th of October, the island's National Day.
It has been a tempestuous few months for Taiwan, as China has dramatically turned up its military intimidation of the island. In her National Day address, President Tsai Ing-wen warned that armed confrontation between China and Taiwan was absolutely not an option for either side. She said China's continued military and economic squeeze on the island would only serve to push Taiwan further away. Opinion polls appear to support her. A record 80% of people here now say they oppose any form of political union with China.
The BBC's Rupert Wingfield Hayes. Individual travelers will be able to visit Japan without visas beginning tomorrow, just like in the pre-COVID days. News and analysis, townhall.com. This year's Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences awarded to 3 U.S.-based economists for research on banks and financial crises.
Ben Bernanke, Douglas Diamond, and Philip Dybvig were recognized for their research into the fallout from bank failures. The Nobel panel at the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences in Stockholm said the trio's research had shown, quote, why avoiding bank collapses is vital. The panel says the findings of the 3 in the early 1980s laid the foundations for regulating financial markets and dealing with financial crises.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. German police say they're examining the possibility of a political motive in the suspected sabotage of a railway communication system over the weekend. It brought trains to a standstill all across the northwestern sector of the country. Once again on Wall Street this hour, the S&P futures are 4 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travelation, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to it. Post-fair week.
Yes.
A little rain.
A lot of rain. And I was in most of it.
Yeah, Friday got a little damp.
Oh, boy, did it ever. Yeah.
So it's Saturday.
Saturday was moist as well. Saturday was not as moist, but Saturday was still pretty moist. Wednesday was bad. Thursday was bad-ish, but yeah, Wednesday and Friday were our big storm days. Maybe that was just because it was the days that I was out in it.
Maybe.
But boy, dude, the long national nightmare is finally over. Big thanks to everybody who made the Eastern New Mexico State Fair a huge success, but that was a long week, dude.
It went by quick, though.
Yeah, it did, because I was non-stop working the whole time.
Well, take a slower week this week.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I got kids this week. A little different.
Yeah, nothing's slowing down.
Sleep when I'm dead. It's fine.
Well, happy Monday, everybody, and a little drier week. We got a chance of rain today, but today and then maybe by late this week we can see a little bit more. But by the way, happy Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever you celebrate it as today. I guess depending on. I think it's still nationally.
Happy bank holiday. How about that?
Yeah, I think still nationally it's Columbus Day, but like here in New Mexico, I think it's Indigenous People Today, and I think a couple other states it's listed
pretty much
as such.
Everywhere in the United States, it's socially acceptable to just say it's Indigenous Peoples Day. It's
Yeah.
kind of like people are like, let's lean away from Columbus.
Although they still do Columbus parades and all that in New York City, right?
I don't think so.
Italians?
No, I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure
the Italians did a big
maybe
Columbus Day
the
parade.
Italians, but I'm pretty sure for the most part that's shot.
I thought the Italians still had a big Columbus Day parade.
I saw a meme over the weekend. It said, all you people who are shook about Dahmer should wait till you see what Columbus did. I was like, not wrong.
Well, I don't know. I think we just get rid of all holidays. Every single one of them.
All of them?
Every one of them.
Okay.
Because they're all culture appropriating something.
So Jehovah's Witness.
Just everything.
There you go.
No holidays at all. Everyone go to work. And
can we still celebrate National Pizza Day?
Nope.
Dang it.
Nope. That's culture appropriating
That's the
somebody.
good one. Yeah, the Italians.
Every single holiday, just wipe it off the face of the earth. We don't get them anymore because we're not adult enough to handle it.
Christmas is appropriated from the pagans. So
Exactly. Everything's been appropriated from somebody. Yeah. So we're just going to take it all. Take every holiday. Today's just Monday.
But see, even therein, you're celebrating the Greek gods. Because all of the days were based on I believe, planetary bodies. So Monday, Moon Day.
Well, if
sure
you can get the rest
Tuesday
of the planet to call it something else, then I'll do the same. But until they got that
Thursday was Thursday.
It's just Monday.
Saturday was Saturn's Day. I'm just saying the ones I know. I don't know all of them. But yeah, they're all based on, I think, planetary bodies or something. So yeah, we can't even have days now. But in your system.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
in this Mike Winters dystopian future of which you speak.
We're all blank.
Yes.
We're just like the community mascot, just blank. Well, happy Monday.
Yes, welcome to it.
Indigenous Peoples, Columbus Day, whatever you call it, Monday, whatever it is, happy Monday for you. Post-Fair Day, Post-Balloon Fiesta Day. I saw a bunch of stuff over the weekend because they got rained on too.
Yeah, it was pretty wet all over the state.
And the big thing I kept seeing on the news was they kept blowing hot air balloons up in like arenas and like at the pit and all these other indoor arena places so they could dry out the balloons before they have to, because many of them get packed up and put on planes to send back to Brazil or South America, wherever they come from.
It's kind of like it's kind of like the idea of a samurai. Once this thing's unsheathed, it must taste blood. Once this thing has been unpacked, it must be inflated at least once.
Well, it's like a tent.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like a tent. If you ever gone camping, if you camp and it gets rain and you pack the tent up when the tent's wet, guess what? Next time you open it, it's going to be full of mildew and stank and probably, depending on how long it's been that way, could be dry rot a little bit. And
like our trailer.
But if you air it out and make sure you put it away dry, then that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's no different with a hot air balloon.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
That's what they were doing.
But yeah, no, it was the Balloon Fiesta did their best they could to kind of put on a show still. As far as I didn't go myself, but the kids' mom went and took the kids. They didn't actually do the balloon glow that night. What they ended up doing was a drone show and then a fireworks show. Okay. So they still put on a pretty good show, regardless of they could do with balloons or not.
Yeah. That's great. I'm glad they did.
They did what they could.
It's not called Drone Fiesta.
In fairness,
just saying. Yeah.
Them tickets were outrageous for Balloon Fiesta.
To get in?
Oh my gosh, it was like $25 this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Wow. I love Balloon Fiesta. I hate navigating through Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah,
it is
the
a
best advice I can give you if you want to enjoy Balloon Fiesta is go downtown in Albuquerque, find yourself a really good burrito.
Yeah.
Then sit out either on your car or like on your tailgate and just watch.
See, now I have the inn. I didn't have that in years past, but this year I had the inn. We didn't go this year just because timing didn't work out with everything. But my in-laws moved back to Albuquerque here over the last several months here. They were in Phoenix. They've retired and they gallivant. That's what retired people do.
Yeah.
So they moved back to Albuquerque to be closer to grandkids. But where they live at now, it's literally like a peak. Like you sit out in your backyard with your cup of coffee and in your bathrobe, and the balloons like fly right over your house and land in the field near you and all that kind of stuff. They get all that stuff. So my next Balloon Fiesta is experiencing it via the bathrobe in their backyard, with my hot cocoa and
the way it ought to be.
Right. So, but I didn't get a chance to do that this year. So next year.
Yeah.
Let me give you the rundown. I'm going to talk about me sitting in a bathrobe.
The whole time, whole show.
Yeah.
Bathrobe Mondays.
Drink it in. No. Matt Bristol from Bristol Law Office is going to join us here. He's not in a bathrobe either. He's dressed normally. And we will discuss, as we do each month, the law. Matt joins us and we gives us sage legal advice, and we'll continue to do that here this morning. Don't have a guest scheduled for the 8 o'clock hour. So last week, Ted Smith with the Walker Aviation Museum joined us and had a great little conversation about history and, of course, the museum. So figured I'd play that for you here this morning. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, Tracy Fry with the Roswell Public Library going to join us and gives an update on things happening this month at the Roswell Public Library. So getting your Halloween and Dia de los Muertos and probably even talk a little, Thanksgiving time for him stuff too. So usually they have a bevy of things happening at this time of year at the library. So she'll give us the rundown.
Good stuff.
And, of course, we'll have all of your other features that include the news of the local, national variety, along with your Wall Street business updates. Your livestock report with Smiley Wooten. We'll do that for you here in just a few minutes. And whatever else we can come up with for today's show.
Made me think of something.
Yes.
That when we finally get a chance to do our evening show, our mornings with Mike Winters nights.
Yes.
We need to get twin smokers jackets.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking the hef jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
so
red
just for when we come out.
Red silk.
Yeah, I'm thinking take those chairs, the two out in the green room, have them set there at the stage, and so we just twin smokers jackets, walk out on the stage, both sides, casual greeting, and sit down. Maybe have like a bubble pipe at some point. One of us.
I need a pipe. Yeah. Something Sherlock Holmes like that bends down and
twin smokers jackets. Let's see if we can make that happen.
All right, I like it. Let's rob the hef closet.
This thing's really fleshing out.
We'll look good, and we have nothing to say.
By the way, nobody wants to go into Hef's closet. Stay out of there.
Well, we could send somebody. All right, it is 7:15. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Low pressure over western Texas and southern New Mexico, and a lot of moist air available, so scattered showers and thunderstorms coming up for us today. It'll be cloudy, and that'll keep our afternoon high in the low 70s. Some showers and thunderstorms continuing overnight, and we'll drop to about 55, and then high pressure takes over the weather pattern on Tuesday, upper 70s and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 57 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 87%. Winds currently out of the north at 5 miles per hour. Like I said, the rain chances dry up compared to last week. But today, we're still dealing with some rain chances. A 40% chance for rain for us this afternoon. Could see some patchy fog this morning before 9 a.m. They're saying mostly cloudy for the day. Once again, highs near 70 with winds out of the south at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before midnight. Mostly cloudy otherwise, with an overnight low of 54 degrees. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then not much talk of rain after tonight for a few days. Sunny for you Tuesday with highs right around 78. South winds 5 to 10. Mostly clear tomorrow night with an overnight low of 54 degrees, west winds 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny, highs right around 79 with northwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies Wednesday night with an overnight low of 51. Then for the rest of the week, sunny, high of 77 for Thursday, sunny and 78 for Friday. And then looking at the weekend, mostly sunny and 81 for Saturday, 20% chance of rain Saturday night, and a 30% chance of rain Sunday, otherwise sunny and 73. So get through today, then not much talk of rain till maybe the weekend again. But, it's southeast New Mexico. That's a whole lot of days for it to go away, the rain chances, and often does here. So, all right, it is 17 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to take a 4-minute break, and then Matt Bristol with the Bristol Law Office will join us on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good October run this week following some nice soaking fall rains in the drawing area and a good selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves and light yearlings. We expect to sell 900 head. Break it down like this: 75 to 100 weighing cows and bulls, 25 to 50 pairs bred cows, 750, 800 calves in yearlings. Today's sale will include 102 calves, Triple R Ranch, Jowl, New Mexico, ex-quality black, white face, Angus and Brangus crosses, Bow-Shield Gold 7-way at Brandon, 350, 550 pounds. 28 calves, Mr. Steve Harkey, Carrizosa, New Mexico, ex-quality black, white face, Angus cross calves, medium condition, 400, 550 pounds. 100 calves, Mr. George Kostokarich, Carrizosa, New Mexico, ex-quality black, white face, Angus crossbred calves, Bow-Shield Gold 7-way at Brandon, 350, 575 pounds. 67 calves, Lisa Geica, here north of Roswell, excellent quality black Angus cross calves, Virus Shield 6, Enforce 3 and 7-way, 550, 700 pounds. 30 steer calves, Mr. Jordan Johnson at Lake Arthur, New Mexico, ex-quality black, white face, Angus cross calves, shots at Brandon, 400, 500 pounds. 44 calves and light yearlings, Mr. Larry Baldwin, Fort Davis, Texas, ex-quality black, white face, Angus cross calves, 550, 700 pounds. And 19 yearlings, Mr. Walter Klein at Marfa, Texas, ex-quality black Angus cross yearlings, medium condition, right off grass, 650, 850 pounds. Sale time this morning 9 o'clock. Sell pairs bred cows 9:30. Be selling calves and yearlings about 9:45 to 10. We are light on cows today, so don't be late. We expect to sell 900 head. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
I'm Michelle Garcia Holmes, and I'm running for United States Congress. As a former policewoman, I put on my Kevlar vest, uniform, gun belt, grabbed my 12-gauge shotgun, jumped into my police car, and hit the city streets to keep you safe. I want to do the same for you in Washington. I'm asking for your vote on November 8th because our families deserve safe cities, a secure border, and lower gas prices.
Donate today at GarciaHolmesForCongress.com. Paid for by Michelle Garcia Holmes for Congress.
Oasis Computers has been Roswell's trusted source for home and small business computers for over 30 years, and they continue to be your best resource for computer repairs, operating system upgrades, web root managed, antivirus, special orders, and more. Oasis Computers is now open from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday to better serve you. Service calls by appointments and after-hour appointments are available too. Stop by Oasis Computers at 1703 North Garden or call or text 575-625-9141 for even faster service.
Now through October 31st, all new customers who sign up for Plateau True Fiber Internet will receive their first 3 months of internet for free. With Plateau True Fiber, you have no data caps, no hidden fees, and symmetrical upload and download internet speed. And right now, when new customers use offer code RSWTRA and visit in-store or call 877-752-8328, you will get your first 3 months of Plateau True Fiber Internet for free. That's up to $240 in savings. Plateau True Fiber. Tried, true, trusted. Offer is redeemable only for new Roswell customers in Plateau Fiber eligible zones. Must sign up for the Artesia Arts Council welcomes you back to Art in the Park, happening Friday and Saturday, October 14th and 15th at JC Park in Artesia. Come and find unique, one-of-a-kind handmade arts, decor, collectibles, and so much more. All made by artisans and crafters from all over the region. Jewelry, paintings, carved skulls, custom items, and more. Plus, don't miss the Artesia High School Band's annual Cakewalk event and performances from the New Mexico School of the Arts Jazz Band. Come hungry because plenty of food trucks will be on hand too. Art in the Park 22, Friday the 14th from 2 to 8 p.m. and Saturday the 15th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at JC Park in Artesia. Paid for by Artesia Lodgers Tax. Representative Greg Nybert has always and continues to believe in less government interference in our lives, Second Amendment rights, strong and consistent enforcement of the law, no leniency for criminals, right to life, and government spending within its means. Greg Nybert has represented House District 59 fairly and consistently. Please vote for Greg Nybert, District 59.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Representative, Richard Taylor, Treasurer.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Astronauts are not allowed to eat beans before they go into space because passing wind in a spacesuit damages them. The suits or the astronauts? Here's Mike Winters.
I think it's more about the astronauts. I'm sorry, the suits, not the astronauts. They don't care about the astronauts. Good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, actually all the way from the 4th floor up here, Matt Bristol with Bristol Law Office, joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good. How's your weekend?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Wet, like everybody else's. But
sounds like you got a little cold something going on.
I'm on the back end. Yeah, I was dealing with a cold last week, and yeah, it's pretty much, I just got a little phlegm going on in the throat area. But yeah, just it's going around, the cold. I got that still too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on the back end. It's kind of lingering right at the phlegm in there. I get to clear out my throat. So
yeah, it'll go away sooner or later.
Yeah, eventually. If not, this will be the new saltier, sexier version of me. So, for folks not familiar, Matt Bristol joins us once a month and gives sage legal advice, talking. Most of it's generally in the worlds of your family planning, making sure your ducks are in a row for future financial or family plans. So basically setting it up so whatever you want to do, making sure you legal wise set the table so you can navigate a lot of that type of stuff easier. Things like will planning, estate planning. If you're a business, starting a small business, what types of things you can do and things you should not do or cannot do, and things like that. That's where we spend a lot of our focus on.
Yep. We talk about all sorts of fun stuff. It's the second Monday of each month.
Yeah.
And here we are, the second Monday.
It is.
It's Columbus Day or
Indigenous Peoples Day
Indigenous
or Columbus, whatever you
people.
want to call it. It is that day. The main is that you probably won't get any mail and the banks are closed, but everything else will be open.
So the people who lost the war day, I guess.
Yeah.
So I've got two cases going on, Mike. I swear, we talk about this stuff on a regular basis, and some people just don't listen. I don't know what the scoop is.
Say, listen to the show because save you a bunch of money.
Save a bunch.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's a second marriage situation, older couple.
Okay.
They've been married like 20 years.
Okay.
Now, sometimes we see they've just been together 20 years, but not married. That happens too.
Sure.
So let's say it's the husband has the house. He owned it pre-marriage. They've been together 20 years, but he's got kids of a previous marriage. They're now adult children.
Mm-hmm.
And he passes without a will.
Oh, no.
No will, no estate planning, no nothing.
Wow, that could get ugly.
It gets ugly real quick.
Yeah.
You have the kids, barge in the house, and I want my dad's stuff.
Sure. And I'm sure the kids with the first wife feel a little more entitled than the second round of kids.
Well, even if there's no kids from the second round, they still, the
spouse
it's their dad, and they've known them their whole lives. And there's probably nothing in that house that's more than 20 years old anyway, but they want their dad's stuff.
Yeah.
And so
the wife doesn't deserve it.
That's part of it. And then it's, it's dad's sole and separate house. It's his sole and separate property. He had it pre-marriage. So the kids are entitled to 3/4 of the house.
Wow.
And 1/4 goes to the surviving spouse. So did dad really intend to leave his wife of 20 years with just 1/4 of a house?
I would hope not, but that's what he did.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
When you don't have a will, the state has a plan for you.
And I'm assuming the families weren't that close to begin with. And
usually not.
So they're not willing to work it out on their own, I'm taking it. They're going to want theirs and that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. It gets ugly quick. And, the house is worth $1 billion, and so you have to pay us 3/4 of $1 billion.
So that's what it is. There's people are looking for a payday here. It's not more than dad had a little bit. Dad had enough for some of these might change the lives of some of these family members kind of thing.
Well, Dad,
financially anyway.
Well, most folks, they don't have a whole lot anyway.
Yeah.
Just the average Joe doesn't have a whole lot.
It sounds like this one's got some more assets in the estate than atypically or something like that.
Nobody's thinking straight.
Yeah.
The adult children just lost a parent, and the surviving spouse just lost their spouse, and there's a lot of emotions going on. And so sometimes it kind of depends on the age of the adult children.
Mm-hmm.
Kids in their 20s, they're not as money grubby, let's say, as some maybe adult children in their 50s.
Sure.
Who didn't save anything for retirement.
Right. They're thinking, oh, here's our safety net for not having a nest egg.
That's right.
Yeah.
We didn't save our own nest egg, so we need that inheritance from Dad. And so the older people get, the more they tend to cling to that money stuff.
So we got probably a scenario there.
A real scenario. And then just say man and woman just live together, but weren't actually married. Well, if there's no marriage, there's no community property. There's no legal claim to anything at all.
It's very surprising that someone with that many assets didn't have a will with that many family members to bequeath to. You know what I mean? It just does. That seems like usually someone who has that much in terms of assets and things generally got their head screwed on pretty good, and they plan for things like this. But
well,
I mean, you never say never, but it's just surprising to me that
a lot of
didn't
people
happen.
are old school.
Yeah.
And old school is, you don't talk about it, because if you do, it's going to happen.
Right.
So if you talk about dying, then you're going to die. So let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about wills, and let's not talk about transfer on death deeds, powers of attorney. Oh my gosh.
But you're doing a disservice to your family by not doing it, because even if you think your family's the most loving, agreeable, never disagree on anything, things are different when it comes to money and things like that, and it changes people. And
it does.
And I hope to God you're right, but I'm going to bet that 9 times out of 10 you're wrong. Something's going to change, or something's going to cause a strife, or cause some kind of wedge in the family. And it's too easy to avoid that by just getting the will. That way you set the terms that, like it. They might be mad at you, but at least everything's lined up. There's no room for interpretation.
Yeah. I mean, so husbands out there, if you're in your second marriage, is your intent really that your surviving spouse, your widow, now spend tens of thousands of dollars trying to straighten stuff out where you could have just fixed it real easy?
Yeah.
Is that really your intent, for her to blow all that money in court? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I know some people are like, I just wash my hands of it, let them fight it out and all. I guess if that's your mindset, but at the end of the day, most people aren't like that. They want, when they're gone, they want their family to have to live comfortably, to not want for anything, and to be able to live at least the lifestyle that they were living with you on the earth with them. And unfortunately, humans are humans.
Yep.
And opportunity changes mindset of people sometimes, and that's just what happens.
Yep. I did have a widow call me, and her husband had an savings account, and he never really shared very much information about it with her, for whatever reason. But he had named his adult son as payable on death for the account.
Okay.
And so that's one way of estate planning, is you have beneficiaries named on your bank account. So at least, husband had taken care of that much. But again, the surviving widow, it's like, well, I could have used that money too. And she was wondering if she had a claim to the money. And I said, well, I don't know. What was the source of the deposits in the account? And she says, well, it was his Social Security check. I said, well, Social Security is sole and separate property.
Mm-hmm.
And so he can leave it to anybody he wants. And even when you're married, you don't have a claim to it.
And so what she assumed she was getting, she isn't.
Well, I don't know if she thought she was, but at least he had taken care of that account, and it went where he wanted. He wanted his child of a previous marriage to have something when he passed, and he accomplished that.
So the intent was probably for his kids to get that stuff. And,
and
for his current wife to get the house and the
house and the rest
things
of
that they're living and using right at that particular time.
Yeah.
But because kids are kids, and kids, no will, and there's like, well, no, that was my dad's, therefore it's mine. And that's unfortunate. And I'm going to guess the adult kids probably didn't have the best relationship with the second wife.
With the stepmom, no.
So that doesn't help matters.
Oh, and the stepkids are saying, well, we want dad's this and we want dad's that. And it's like, okay, well, since none of his clothes are older than 20 years, it's like not yours.
Right. And
none of his garage tools are, more than 20 years old. So they're not yours. And so exactly what claim do you think you have?
Yeah. So, and now, was the second wife an actual wife? Are they married, or were they just living together? And so really, a lot of the assets they have together, the kids can't touch, right?
Anything acquired after the date of marriage belongs to the surviving spouse.
So I'm assuming the house was just in his name and was acquired before the marriage?
Acquired pre and was paid off before the marriage, actually.
So she was just living there. So
so
that is a slippery slope.
Yeah, so no community money went to pay down the mortgage, which might have made a community claim, but it was paid off before they got married. So little subtleties make a difference. Was it paid off? Was it not paid off?
Now, I'm assuming the house wasn't in her name at all, even though they were married.
Correct.
At no point was her name put on the deed of the property.
Correct.
Okay. And then I'm guessing in New Mexico, there's no common law.
No. So common law is short for English common law.
Gotcha.
And since we're a Spanish-based community property state, we have no English common law marriage.
Gotcha. Okay. So that I know some states have that, but we're not one of them.
Not one of them.
That wouldn't fall under that kind of thing.
Predominantly back east, you see more common law marriages.
Isn't California one of those states that allows it? It seems that way.
They may have adopted it.
It just seems like a lot of celebrities talk about that for a reason.
And then palimony and all that. It's kind of, it's California. Land of fruits and nuts.
Everything's
Everything's different
Everything's not quite right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got some really weird stuff going on in California.
Yeah. So the real point and lesson in all of what we're telling you here is have a will to delineate where your assets go, regardless of how many assets you have.
I have a will for the house. We do what's called a transfer on death deed, which removes the house from probate. That's always very nice. You can name beneficiaries on bank accounts, savings, checking, retirement, life insurance. Name a beneficiary, not just one beneficiary, but 2 or 3 levels.
Okay.
And there's different ways you can word that.
Now, how often do you get in the weeds with the wills like you see in movies and TV where they're leaving you the jewelry and specific heirloom items? Is that commonplace, or is that more the exception than the rule?
All of our wills have a provision say I may attach a list of personal property items and the person who's going to get them. So that it's on all of our wills.
Okay.
And we just send it with them and say, fill it out and date it and change your mind as much as you want. As long as you sign and date, you're good. But I always recommend that they give away those items while they're still alive.
Gotcha.
And because that way they know Mike Winters is going to get X.
Sure. Well, and that's just it. I always wondered, what happens? The idea is you write a will out, and it's going to be a long time before you execute said will. Most people aren't thinking next week they're going to be executing this will, So my question is, what happens if, say, the said things get broken or missing over time? Like, I was going to leave them my blender, but the blender died. I mean, is that... what happens when those kind of things happen? Do you really have to do an act of Congress to change the will? It's where's my blender I was promised? Well, it broke in 1922.
Well, that's an invitation for disaster, actually. So, because I've had some people say, well, I want my son Mike to have my Camaro because he's always wanted it. And I'm like, well, the problem with that is if you say I want Mike to have my 68 Camaro, what happens if you pass away not owning it? You sold it or something.
Can he go get it from whoever who gave it to
or
sold it to?
Demand the monetary equivalent.
Sure. Now you sue the estate to get whatever the value of that Camaro was.
Right, exactly.
Oh, man.
So when people tell me, I want my child to have my car, then I tell the Camaro, so we write down, if I own it when I die, Mike gets the 68 Camaro. And so that takes care of the Mike suing the estate for the monetary equivalent.
It's like this so around you can have it. Got it.
Or any car I may own at the time of my death.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we couch that for the what if there's a plan B happens.
Okay. I was just kind of curious about that because I'm sure there's certain items that are, family keepsakes and things, and then a fire happens or something, it gets destroyed, and it's like, then what? If you don't go and change your will, or someone on the hook for that when they come to execute said will? I mean, that's kind of...
Well, that's why I recommend people give their stuff away while they're alive.
Sure.
That way I know Mike ends up with the 68 Camaro because I handed him the keys.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you get to see people smile, get to see the look on their face when they get whatever it is you're giving them. You get some immediate joy. Do it for Christmas, birthday kind of stuff. And that way your stuff ends up where you want it to end up.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And then you just hope the people you bequeath it to take care of it the way you would hope they take care of it.
Well, so I had a case where there was a second marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And these people were older. I mean, late 60s. Second marriage. And so everybody's got adult children, both the husband and wife. And so the wife comes to see me, and she's got some issues. And I say, well, what's the matter? She says, well, the husband's kids, and they're already making noise about what's going to happen to my mom's stuff. What's going to happen to my mom's stuff when Dad passes? They're already making noises.
Sure.
And I said, well, tell you what, you just have your husband start giving that stuff to the kids now.
Right.
Mom's dresser, mom's jewelry, mom's paintings, mom's silver, china, whatever it is.
The things you want to make sure stay with the people you want it to stay with.
Give it to the kids now so they can't complain about it later. That way everything in the house is, or most stuff in the house is new. It's yours, not the ex-wife's. And then if husband does pass away first, everything in the house is yours because you bought it brand new.
Makes sense.
So get rid of that stuff now.
Well, and to be honest, if it's stuff that's valuable to you, but all it's doing is sitting in a room in your house or sitting in your garage collecting dust, you might as well go ahead and let it go to the person you intend it to go to so they can start enjoying it and taking care of it. And to be honest, that's one less thing you're responsible for now.
Yep.
At that point, it's like, good. Now, what about the car? I don't got to worry about it. It's my son's now or my daughter's now. It's not mine to worry about.
Yep.
So
sometimes, a prenuptial agreement helps keep things divided. Now there's no question the E-Trade account was something Dad had pre-marriage because there's a prenup. So that goes to whoever he goes to in the will.
Gotcha.
Or there's, the 68 Camaro's in the prenup. So now there's no dispute who owned it pre-marriage and it's sole and separate property. So the prenups come in handy that way.
Okay.
Just so not so much between the husband and wife you're worried about, it's the next generation you're worried about.
Sure. Makes sense. And that's probably where, when we talk about these things, that's where it gets complicated when you're in essence, starting a new family, which is kind of, when you go through you've been married with someone for, a long time and have kids with them, and then you end up divorcing and then marrying someone else and in essence starting a new family here. And even if there's no kids in that next marriage, just like we said here, you're creating more dependents, more people that at the end of the day think they get a piece of the pie at the end. And if that's not worked out, beforehand, even if you think your family gets along and everybody loves everybody, and everyone's like, there's no way they would start a family feud over my stuff.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Hold my beer and check this out. That's kind of what, people just get different when it turns out that they think they've got a chance at money or something of value.
Oh, yeah.
And families get destroyed over dumb stuff like this. So please, for the sake of your family, for the sake of yourself, just go ahead and have that. Well, even if you don't think, if you've got any kind of an asset, if you own a house, if you own a car, if you own anything that's of value, then you've got something worth writing a will for, because someone's going to want it. Where's it going to go when you're gone?
Yep.
And you get to dictate where that, and if you don't, someone else does, and you probably won't be happy with the way it gets dictated.
Yeah. If you don't have an estate plan, the state has one for you, whether you like it or not, or whether your kids like it or not.
And the real, and we've talked about this in the past too, the thing is, once you have a will, it's not sign it and forget it. You know, as life moments happen, additions to the family, subtractions to the family, assets that you've added, assets that you've lost,
retirement,
401k, divorce,
IRAs,
remarriage, any of these milestone moments in your life, you need to reassess that will and make sure it meets your current life's needs.
Absolutely.
You know, because an outdated will is just as effective as no will. Because if it's talking about a bunch of assets you don't have anymore, or bequeathing to people that are no longer walking the earth, then it's not really very useful now, is it? So,
yep, got a problem there. So, you know, be aware, treat business like business. It's a business decision. You just got to treat it like a business and just get her done.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like you said earlier, no one wants to talk about or deal with death and things like that. But, you know, have that simple conversation. Do it young, you know, you do it, you know, plan early with that. Especially if you got kids.
Yeah.
The moment you get kids, you better start thinking about a will and getting that will done.
And the will is not so much for assets for the small children, but who's going to raise those
Yeah, what
children?
happens if you get in a car accident tomorrow and you die and there's no one to raise your kids?
Yep.
And you're like, I don't want so-and-so to raise them. I want so-and-so to raise them. Well, you lose that say, possibly, without that will.
Well, you do, because after that point, you're dead.
Yeah.
So you need a testamentary guardian of who's going to raise those kids. If there's assets for the children, then that's typically a different skill set. So you might have somebody raise the children who has good parenting skills, but then a different person actually handle the money who's got good financial skills.
Right. Yeah. Let the one who's good at setting up trusts and things handle the finances, and the one who's good with, you know, raising kids, raise the kids.
Yeah, because the kids are going to be getting Social Security checks. So that'll take care of their day-to-day needs in theory, and the other assets can be left alone to grow.
And yeah, exactly. So, you know, hopefully one day when that kid turns 18 is thinking about education after high school, they pretty much can write their own ticket because they've got a little nest egg there to go to college or go to trade school or start their own business or whatever they want to do with their next phase in life. So
yeah, always got to think about the future, plan for it, be careful. You know, if you don't have a roadmap, you're going to end up just anywhere.
This is true.
Maybe somewhere you don't want to be.
Yeah, and it's I know it's not fun to think about, and it's not something that people are itching and clamoring to do, but you will save yourself so much family stress and headaches and life's things that you think are simple in life get complicated because of things like this. This is the type of things. You know, we're supposed to be celebrating with your family the good moments in life, the joy. And when you do have the sad moments, you're supposed to use those moments to mourn and to grieve the loss, not, all right, what are we going to do with this car? What are we going to do with this house?
The fight
what are we
starts,
do with that? Yeah. You know, that because that's just ugly.
Yes. And in another scenario of where there's a second marriage and the wife does have assets, say your wife inherited assets from her parents. And what if husband goes into a nursing home? Well, Medicaid is going to tell a wife to spend that money down unless she can have some paper trail that it's sole and separate property.
Yeah.
If there's no paper trail, you know, they're going to make her spend that money down. Or even if it's a 20-year marriage and the husband and wife, you know, acquire 401ks, IRAs, those are considered spendable assets for Medicaid. And now you're going to be spending all of your retirement money on the spouse in the nursing home. And
paying for long-term care.
And who's going to take care of you? So you can do a post-nuptial agreement. Or a New Mexico husband and wife can enter into contracts that says that's Mike's sole and separate property, and this is Kim's sole and separate property.
Sure. So you protect assets so you don't put your spouse in the poorhouse because you've got to pay for your assisted living or hospice or whatever it is you need.
So at least when you leave a widow or widower, they still have some assets to retire on, to live on, instead of just a $1,200 Social Security check.
Yeah. Yeah, because the rest got bled dry paying for, you know,
nursing
homes and long-term care and hospice and all that.
Yeah. So little things like that, folks. Let's kind of think ahead and plan for that kind of stuff.
And unfortunately, the time that most people end up starting thinking about this stuff is that time where the relative is needing hospice or needing long-term care. And to be honest, that's the last thing on your mind is how am I going to pay for it? How am I? You're just, you can focus on that transition in life with your loved one, and that it's rough enough going through that as it is. Then you worry about, well, how many days before they kick us out of here?
Oh yeah, it's scary stuff.
It is. So, please, I know it's not fun. I know it's not sexy, but plan ahead on this. And what's an ounce of planning prevents a pound of pain or something later. I don't remember the actual slogan, but it's something like that.
An ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure.
There you go. There it is. Exactly. It is absolutely true. It is what it is.
So you spend $500,000 on prevention and the cure. If you don't do it, then it could cost tens of thousands.
Absolutely. And it's always the alternative. That's what you think about. And it's not human nature to just say, all right, what's the worst case scenario of everything and plan for it. But if you think that way, then your chances are you're probably going to be pretty good with you're going to be prepared for whatever hurdle or obstacle or caveat gets thrown in your path.
Well, it's an interesting observation because when I was in Scouts, we were both Scouts, Mike and I are both Scouts. In junior high and high school, this older scout taught us rock climbing, rappelling, and he bought a book on rock climbing accidents, things not to do. And so what we learned was, well, not only what are the odds of something occurring, a bad thing occurring, but what's the downside to that? Mm-hmm. And so one of the stories was these guys are climbing, big rock face, and there's a rock ledge, but there's a 3-foot gap. And on one side of the gap, there's all sorts of ropes you could tie into for safety. On the other side of the gap, there are ropes you could tie into for safety, but there's no one rope going over the gap.
Gotcha.
So he had this mountain climber says, well, what are the odds I can't step 3 feet and, unhook here, step 3 feet, rehook in for safety? What are the odds I can't make that?
Sure.
Well, he didn't make it. And the downside was a 1,000-foot fall.
Oof.
So it's not just, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance I can't make 3 feet.
Right.
But the odds are, and if you don't, what's the downside?
Sure.
What's the 100% certainty of death?
Yeah.
So we did look at what is the worst case scenario.
Sure.
And what is the result of that
risk
scenario.
Risk versus reward.
Yeah. So I learned to think that. That's interesting. Yeah.
It is. And that's just it too. And then, because then you can get into, if you really want to get into the weeds, you're like, okay, well, what's the weather today? Is it rainy? Is it dry? And that impacts the percentages of failure, success. Wet rocks are going to be slippery and more dangerous than dry ones. And so that 3 feet is much more dangerous with wet rocks than it is. So, but yeah, that's the kind of thing you do, and you assess everything like that, even if you're not doing it physically. That's just human nature. How many times do you go and say you're in Walmart and you're walking through Walmart and you say, oh, look at this cup. Should I buy it? And then you start looking at, well, the cup is large. That's what I like. And then you start looking, well, do I want to buy it? Well, it's purple. I don't like that color. So, you know what I mean? But every single decision you make, this is what you're going through and doing that kind of, whether you realize it or not. And that's, treat everything in life that way. It's, make those,
make good decisions. Think about it. Make good decisions.
But weigh the pros and cons on everything. And odds are, if you do that, you'll end up making the right decision 9 times out of 10. And when it comes to your legal side, family planning, legal planning, financial planning, all of that stuff, it's not rocket science. It's really just being smart and just saying, okay, if I do decision X, what's the good things that come from that? What's the potential bad things that come from that? And then if you weigh every decision that way and you look at and odds are you're probably going to make the right decision 9 times out of 10 because you sat and thought and did some critical thinking on it.
Yes, and even when you do nothing, you have made a decision, and that decision will have consequences.
Sure.
So just every decision has a consequence, even if it's a decision to, I'm going to put this off.
Yeah, and that's
not a good one.
But that's, at the end of the day, when we talk lawyers and legalities and what's right, what's wrong, and that's interpreting the law and saying, okay, well, this is what it says. What does that mean?
Yep.
Did you do that? Did you not do that? And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's rules out there that your state will have to go by, whether you're aware of those rules or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a dangerous game to play of, I'm going to just keep myself ignorant of what's going to happen.
That's why it's probably a pretty good idea when every time you go to a life milestone moment like this, if you're getting a will, if you're having things, sit down and talk with an attorney. Talk with them about, any kind of thing. Even if you're making a major purchase, probably not a bad idea sometimes to pass along with a guy like Matt and saying, hey, Matt, I'm buying a house here. What do I need to update? What do I need to do? Okay, well, let's take a look at your will here. Let's take a look at your assets. All right, now you got kids here. How do you want to divide that up with them? And, that's the kind of, anytime this stuff goes on, you need to make that conversation happen. So.
Yeah, so I have that conversation a lot with, say, bankruptcy clients. They go through the bankruptcy and they say, well, at some point we're going to want to buy a house. What do we do to get there? And so I tell them, well, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this. I said, when you talk to the mortgage lender and they say, well, this is your monthly payment, be careful because that could just be principal and interest. Your taxes and insurance have to factor into that.
Yep.
And so you need to ask them how much those are going to be. And then are you going to get a 15-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage? And there's an easy way to pay off a 30-year mortgage early without too much penalty, but then there's bad ways to pay it off early. And so I counsel young couples or middle-aged couples on, different things to think about.
Absolutely.
And of course, I'm not telling people what to do, but have you thought about, I had a bankruptcy client. He was about to pay off the car in about 10 months. And I said, what are you going to do with the car payment? He says, what do you mean? I said, well, someday you're going to need a car payment, right?
Yeah.
And well, yeah. So you take your $600 a month car payment you got now and you just put it in savings. You keep that expense in your budget as an expense, but it goes to savings. And then in the future, when you need a new car, you move that expense back into your monthly budget, and that's the new car payment. Now you don't have to scramble to find the money for a car payment.
Gotcha.
And he's like, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. That's why I'm here.
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
So please, I just saw the time. We're running short on it here. But before we give Matt's Fact or Fiction here, if you do need some sage legal advice here, you're listening to us and you're thinking, you know what, time to start putting that will together. Or you know what, I got a will, but it's been about 10 years since I've looked at this thing. Maybe it's time for an update and for a reassessment here.
Could be, and but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So let me take a look, and if it doesn't need changing, we won't change it.
And that's the thing, Matt's going to be honest and upfront with you. If he's like, dude, this is a 5-minute fix, take care of it, and you're done, then he'll tell you that and be gone with it. But you go to get. But if it does require more, okay, no, you need to sit and make it a full appointment. We need to talk, and let's start breaking this down and fixing it. Then Matt will be happy to do that for you.
There you
too,
go.
So.
BristolOffice.com. Look us up, or 625-5284. Give us a call.
Absolutely. All right. You want to do a little fact or fiction for us here?
Well, I noticed driving today that coming here that there was a full moon. Did you see it?
I did. I did notice it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
First, I was like, man, it's dark. It's already getting dark this early. And then I noticed, oh, look, a full moon.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So, when crazy things happen or you get a bunch of crazy people in the office and people say, wow, there must be a full moon out there, right? So, of course, the Latin word for moon is...
something lunar?
Lunar.
Okay.
That's why crazy people are called lunatics.
Okay.
Because it's the full moon.
Makes sense.
Moon makes people crazy.
That's right. It's all those werewolves out there.
And the werewolves. Yes. Because it's that time of year.
'Tis the season. So,
thank you, Mike. I enjoyed it so much.
As always, appreciate the visit. We appreciate the great information. Again, BristolLawOffice.com. Schedule an appointment with Matt to sit down and talk with your legal issues. Of course, you deal with family law to financial, all that stuff.
Business also.
Business as well.
A little bit of everything.
So if you need help with LLCs or wills or anything in between, Matt can help with all that kind of stuff.
Give us a call.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. We'll see you next month.
Take it easy.
Stay warm. We're getting cooler now. It's going to get to a point where it's stay warm.
I love it. I see your windows open. I really like the fresh air.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. This is one of those few times a year I can leave it open all day. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, it is 7:57. Quick break before we get you into news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing here, and I can tell you it's not always easy being a female in a male-dominated business like roofing. I remember one time I was at a meeting to bid on the roof for a local college, and it was me and 13 men. Well, I won that bid, and I'd like to win your business too. My dad was a contractor, and I've been around building and roofing my whole life. I'm licensed and bonded, and I've forgotten more about roofing than most roofers ever knew in the first place. But what really sets Trustmark apart is an obsessive attention to detail that ensures that everything goes smoothly the first time. I promise we will treat you right with respect and we will make you happy. So yeah, it might be a bit odd for a woman to own a roofing company, but give us a try. Let us give you an estimate for your roof. I think you'll be glad you called. For all your roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
There's at least one thing most New Mexicans agree on. Our schools have a long way to go. That's why Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is breathing new life into public education with initiatives that support our children from their first baby steps to promising career paths. Like expanding in-home family services, early childhood and pre-K, so thousands more kids will go off to school healthy and ready to learn. And attracting new teachers by raising salaries to the highest in the Southwest. It's already paying off by recruiting hundreds of new teachers to our classrooms this year. And she is cutting teacher paperwork and administrative burdens by 41%, so they have more time to teach our children. Thanks to the governor's new Opportunity Scholarships, any New Mexican can now attend a state college for free to earn a certificate or degree in a wide range of high-demand fields. After 2 tough years, we're finally making progress in education. We can't afford to go back to the failed policies of the past.
Paid for by New Mexicans for Michelle.
Approved by Michelle Lujan Grisham.
This is John.
Hey, my name is John Jackson.
He's not some actor. He's a steward of the land with a John Deere 3 Series tractor. John runs with us. Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 3 Series tractor with 0% APR for 72 months at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2316.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia or Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
On air and online, this is Roswell's home for talk radio, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Amid high taxes and rising crime, another big business is leaving Chicago and is, in fact, exiting the state of Illinois.
Chicken giant Tyson Foods says they're done with the Windy City, and starting next year, they'll be shutting down offices downtown and a suburb and moving them to their complex in Arkansas. About 1,000 employees affected. Tyson joins a growing list that includes aircraft maker Boeing and construction manufacturer Caterpillar, moving to Arlington, Virginia, and North Texas, respectively. Crime in the city has seemingly run rampant under Progressive Mayor Lori Lightfoot's administration. Rhonda Rockstra reporting.
2 people shot and injured yesterday outside the Long Island home of GOP Congressman and New York gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin. Zeldin says police tell him the shooting had nothing to do with him or his family.
What we have been told from the Suffolk County Police Department is that the answer that their belief is that the answer is no.
In Zeldin's words, like so many New Yorkers, crime has literally made its way to our front door. Multiple cities across Ukraine have been rocked by explosions, including Russian missile strikes on Kiev for the first time in months. The BBC's Hugo Bishega was reporting live from a hotel rooftop in the Ukrainian capital when another Russian missile struck.
We saw yesterday that a residential area of the city of Zaporizhia, a major city in the south of the country, very close to the front lines, was hit. More than a dozen.
The reporter forced to take shelter from the renewed onslaught by the Russian military. Watching Wall Street, stocks opened higher this morning. Now they have turned mixed. Right now, the Dow is up 43 points, while the Nasdaq is down 71, and the S&P trading 9 points lower. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
UK government ministers have implored Conservative colleagues to support their leaders.
British Prime Minister Liz Truss has had a rocky start to her premiership. A misfiring economic plan marred Truss's tumultuous first month in office and threw her party into disarray. Cabinet Minister Nadhim Zahawi said with 2 years until the next general election, the party should start rallying behind Truss to ensure they're re-elected. The pleas for unity come as lawmakers are set to return to Parliament from a 2-week break. Karen Chavas, London.
Chinese cities imposing fresh lockdowns and travel restrictions after the number of new daily COVID cases tripled during a week-long holiday ahead of a major Communist Party meeting in Beijing next week. China, where COVID-19 got its start, one of the few places in the world still resorting to harsh measures, steps that are aimed at keeping the COVID-19 virus from spreading. News and analysis, townhall.com. Mesa, Arizona, the scene of the latest Trump rally. It was held last night. The former president telling a huge crowd that Democrat economic policies have been a disaster for the country.
Inflation is costing the typical Arizona family almost $1,000 a month. Think of that, over $11,000 a year.
Mr. Trump's been holding rallies ahead of next month's crucial midterms, pushing for the GOP to regain control of the House and the Senate. He adds it's crucial for a Republican to win the White House in 2024. CNN has pulled a story on the massacre of preschoolers in Thailand and has apologized after some of its personnel entered the daycare center where the children were killed and filmed the crime scene without authorization. Once again on Wall Street this hour, the Dow trading 43 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2 of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, Sean's chilled.
It's a bit chilly.
I left my window ajar.
There's one good window in this room. It really gets the air blowing through the whole office. And yes, this office gets stuffy.
Yeah.
That one window right next to me, it's real cold right in front of the window.
Yeah. Well, and I forgot to close it. So usually I close it, but I forgot, and so it's actually kind of nice for me. But,
man, I've got to get a hoodie or something because I have nothing. I have like a very thin jacket,
Wafer-thin?
a wafer-thin jacket that I got from like one of those like loot crates from years ago. It's like it doesn't even constitute or qualify as a jacket. It's like t-shirt thin.
I have multiple jackets.
Yeah, I need to get me one or two.
Problem is I wear them like 3 times, then they sit in the closet.
Right. I have the jacket I've been wearing for years, but that thing, it's time to retire that thing. It's seen better years.
Yeah, someone should get you a new jacket for holidays.
I think I'm going to do that. Gift myself.
Yeah. The problem is your birthday's in July, so no one's buying you coats in July.
My birthday's in August.
August, I'm sorry.
That's okay. What, I expect you to remember?
I meant August.
I did shoot you a look.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Your birthday's, I meant to say in the summer.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
no one's buying you coats. So, and let's face it, there's not a lot of coats on the shelves in August.
If there are, they're cheap. That's my recommendation, kids, is get your coats heading into summertime. That's when they discount them.
Yeah. Maybe Goodwill has them all year round.
That's where I'm going to look.
There you go.
Goodwill, Big Lots, places like that.
Go to
what I'd like to do is go to the Humane Society thrift shop because they have for $2, but they're not open today.
Yeah, they won't be open until Wednesday. Maybe take a look at the Roswell Refuge thrift store, see if they've got any. But anyway, happy Monday.
Yes, welcome to it.
Welcome to your first day of the week, post-fair. Back into football, district play getting underway this week. Big games Friday night after taking a week hiatus.
Roswell's heading to Artesia to take on the Bulldogs, and I believe Goddard is facing Mayfield here.
I think you're right. So big games this Friday. We will have them for you on, I believe, radio video for all three. Should not be a problem
because
this week.
It's Bull Bowl and Bulldog Bowl. So
we're in district play time, so it's a little easier for us to do in that.
Nobody puts baby in the corner in our hometowns.
That's right. So we'll have video and radio broadcast for you Friday night of all three. Well, 2 games, 3 broadcasts.
Which is interesting. I always love when we do that because you kind of get a chance to see it from both sides.
That's right.
Like you could actually turn on both games and listen to both announcers and like hear when one team scores, how excited one set of announcers gets and how bummed the other ones sound.
And we generally
and there's a touchdown.
Pull the video.
Touchdown. Yeah.
We'll pull the video. So usually the video is the same, whichever feed if you watch the Roswell feed or the Artesia feed. But the announcers, it will be obviously in the Artesia feed. We'll have
I believe
Joby in the
Joby and Robbie on one side, and then I believe Art and Kelly on the other.
Art and Kelly doing the coyote version,
and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe we are heading into the district with Roswell High in the top seed.
I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's just it. All 3 teams are pretty good. They're all right there in the
we're sitting pretty
in the top.
Top 5 at least.
Something like I know 2 of them are in the top 5.
I want to say that
and all of them are in the top 8 or so.
Artesia is either second or third.
Yeah, and then I want to say Goddard's like a couple down from there.
Maybe a
so
couple down.
They're all right there in the thick of it.
The chase is on.
Yeah, so exciting getting into district play, but we'll have it for you this Friday night. We're going to replay an interview this hour. Last week we had Ted Smith with the Walker Aviation Museum and talked a little history and all that good. Of course, we talked the museum and invite folks to come out and stuff too, but talked a little history and all that. So had a fun conversation with Ted. So we're going to play that here in just a bit. Yeah.
Charmer, I think I started that interview a little late.
I interviewed
on the video.
Ted.
No,
on the video. Oh, that's right. That was the day you were running the video.
That was the day I was running the video, and I think I might have started the recording on that video a little late.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Sorry, Roy.
But how was your weekend? You do? I mean, other than being fair and being wet and all that.
No, it was good. Got out with the kids a lot. Went to the art and science. The Heirloom Makers remote on Saturday was postponed. They got a ton of rain in Artesia, like more than we did, like 1.5 inches in like a day.
Oof.
So Heirloom Makers they needed a couple of days to dry out, to air out.
All right.
And that's postponed to next weekend. So Saturday I had a rare day off.
Okay.
So I took the kids to the art and science fair, which was that was fun. That's a fun story. I almost had an Amber Alert on Saturday.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got to say a big thanks, by the way, to the manager at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center because he helped me out in a big way. We were
Rhiannon
going to
or Hunter.
We were actually going around the different stations. and the kids were at the wind tunnel. They wanted to see, they were like, you put like tissues and stuff into this tunnel and it shoots them up into the sky. They were having a good time. So I took a picture, like literally I'd just taken a picture of the two of them playing. And while I had my phone in my hand, I was looking around at some of the other exhibits just to see what they had out there. And then I hear Rhiannon say, "Where's Hunter?"
Oh no.
I turn and look. Hunter is nowhere to be found.
He just
and I
bolted,
mean, it was that moment like in every movie, like where this happens, where you're just like, your eyes go to 1,000 different locations. You're like, no. I couldn't find him anywhere. Yeah. I was terrified. So, and of course, Rhiannon was not handling the situation well. She was probably paying. Yeah, and Melton was like, Rhiannon, you need to calm down. You're not helping things by overreacting. So let's find an adult. So I found
me.
I found, are you security? He goes, no. I'm like, okay. And I was turning, he's like, I am the manager. I'm like, awesome. Have you seen, and I described my son.
Have you seen this boy?
Showed him the side profile of him and his coat. He had heard kids saying they wanted to go see the circus stuff in the foyer of the building. So he had, I guess, linked up with this guy's boys and was just wandering with them to go to the circus.
They're going to a cool place. Let's go see where they're going.
So he just linked up with them and took off. Once they figured out the situation, they came back in and found the panicked father and said it's probably his.
So all was right in the
everything
world.
was fine. But for a good solid 3 or 4 minutes on Saturday, I was in panic mode.
Well.
That was a real kickstart your heart situation.
Okay, Sean, I got to ask. Have you played that game Heavy Rain, or at least seen like the clip?
I've
from
seen
it? Where the kid
David
or Sean.
Oh yeah, is it Sean? Yeah,
Jason.
The clip he's talking about. There's a game, and in this game, in like the final level, there's a glitch where if you keep pushing this button all throughout this cutscene, he'll continue to call out this boy's name, Sean, and it's like while he's like talking to this family, he'll just turn and go, Sean. And then just keep talking. So it's a meme online, but I've seen what you're talking about. Yeah, so that was me because I don't know what to do in that situation. I'm like, Hunter?
Right.
Like, it's like you call it like a dog. I mean,
Push the Hunter button.
Yeah, you don't think about what do you do in a situation where you can't find your son. It's not like
And then like does some guy walk up, I'm a hunter. It's like, no, not a hunter.
Not
my boy
a hunter, my hunter. I could be your hunter. No, not like that.
You got 4 dates.
Yeah, I did. I got 3 phone numbers off the thing, so that was something. Heading out to the mountains next weekend. But so yeah, that was a bit terrifying. But all was fine.
But all was good.
Yes.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that because there's a scene just like that where the kid's got a balloon and he's like, the dad's looking for his son.
So I remember in the early 2000s, late 90s, there was a thing where parents were putting those little phone cord looking things on their kids, like a little leash. Remember those?
Well, remember they still are.
I was going to say, are those still a thing? That's what I was wondering. Are they still popular?
They're not popular. No,
do
they're
people
not.
look at them as a chattel like thing or something?
If you have now, I don't know. I can't speak for society, but me personally, if you have your child on a leash, I am judging you.
Okay,
just understand that I am judging you.
You're not sympathizing after what you went through.
That being said,
that would have been handy.
I'm not above when my kids are wearing coats, putting a finger in the.
That's why the little hook's there, right?
In the hoodie,
that little loop.
And making sure that they're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like leashing them, but it's not. I'm not leashing my child.
Yeah.
I've seen that. You don't really see it here. You see it in like Albuquerque, and it's like those and baby Bjorns. I'm the same way with baby Bjorns.
Yeah.
It's like carry your freaking baby, put him on your hip. You don't need a papoose for your child.
I'm all about working smart now. I mean, if they got technology that allows you to do that, and if that you feel liking it and comfortable in it, then God bless you. I'm also the same. You know what? I appreciate that a parent is handling their business by, all right, give me this little clip. You're not going too far.
Fine. I guess I was just raised a little different because, when I see someone with a baby strapped to their chest, unless you've got 4 of them, that's the only justifiable scenario. Otherwise, put them on your hip.
See,
Maria.
I'm kind of pro leash. I'm more team
pro
leash. I think
well, you
I
also
am.
don't have children.
See,
that's
true.
the thing is, I should be, but I'm not because put yourself in that kid's position. Because not only is every adult judging you as a parent, your parents,
Yeah.
all the kids are just waiting to get you alone so they can, give you a little street justice.
You know what I say?
Take you down a peg or two.
I grew up being embarrassed by my parents my whole life. My father did it all the time to us. You know what I say? Suck it up, Buttercup. It's part of growing up. And parents embarrassing you is part of life and growing up.
But I'm going to embarrass my children in many, many different ways. I don't think that should be one of them.
Now, if your kid's like 15 and you're doing this, then we got problems. But if they're like early elementary, your kid's age, and they tend to wander, I'm okay with saying, all right, clip, you've got a 6-foot radius around me.
So what you do
is
you use these leashes right here.
How'd that work for you?
God gave you some. Shut up.
How'd that work out for you?
I'm not going to. First of all, in a situation where we're at a science fair, I'm not going to have my kid on a leash. I can't imagine a scenario where I personally
would have more time enjoying
exhibits. You've got an interview to play, but I personally can't imagine a scenario where I would ever put my children on a leash. It's just, it ain't happening.
Telling you.
I've dealt with my children. I know what it's like to deal with them, and I still am not going to leash my kids. Dude, middle school is cruel, okay? I don't want my kids to...
Y'all got your hang-ups, but
this is why you're a great uncle, not a father.
Hey,
you also get to enjoy your evening, so more power to you.
That's where my kid's at, not lost.
I got him tied up out back.
Hey,
We put a bowl of food down in the garage for him. It's fine.
Right, it'll be fine. All right, it is 8:18. Let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Low pressure over western Texas and southern New Mexico, and a lot of moist air available, so scattered showers and thunderstorms coming up for us today. It'll be cloudy, and that'll keep our afternoon high in the low 70s. Some showers and thunderstorms continuing overnight, and will drop to about 55, and then high pressure takes over the weather pattern on Tuesday, upper 70s and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 56 here in Roswell. Humidity's at 90%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. For today, we do have rain chances, but we kind of dry out after today for a few days anyway. 40% chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms today. Could see a little fog this morning. Mostly cloudy otherwise with a high near 70 and northeast winds 5 to 10. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight, mostly cloudy otherwise with an overnight low of 54 degrees, south winds 5 to 10. Tuesday, sunny and 78, south winds 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 54, west winds 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny, 79 for a high, northwest winds 5 to 15. Sunny on Thursday with a high of 77. Friday, sunny and 78. And then looking at the weekend, mostly sunny and 81 Saturday. 30% chance of rain Sunday, otherwise mostly sunny and 73. All right, it is 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're going to take a 3.5-minute commercial break, and then on the other side, we're going to play our interview with Ted Smith from the Walker Aviation Museum. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Happiness isn't about getting what you want all the time. It's about loving what you have and being grateful for it. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smitherman for The Joy of Marriage.
As people, we can get so focused on what we don't have, we don't appreciate what we do have. We can make ourselves miserable, angry, and even depressed by focusing our thoughts and words on the negative. Take a look around and find something to be grateful for that your spouse does. It will change your attitude in your marriage.
1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, "No matter what happens, always be thankful, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus."
Take it from me, I was such a negative person, but by renewing my mind with God's Word and learning to be thankful, it changed my life and greatly impacted my marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
Join 929 The Brand live on remote this Friday 4 to 7 and this Saturday 10 to 1 for the Artesia Arts Council's Art in the Park 22 weekend, happening out at JC Park in Artesia. We'll be there live, telling you about all the great artisan and crafter booths, yummy food trucks, plus performances by the New Mexico School for the Arts Jazz Band, and don't forget the Artesia High School Band Cakewalk. Come hang out with us at this year's Art in the Park, October 14th and 15th at JC Park in Artesia. We'll see you there.
ENMU Roswell offers high school students the opportunity to get a head start on their college education journey into healthcare. Through the Allied Health Careers Pathway, high school learners can enroll in dual credit courses that introduce them to a wide range of careers that include emergency medical technician, paramedic, nursing, occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, medical assisting, phlebotomy, and nursing assistant. Start your healthcare career path at ENMU Roswell. Contact your high school counselor for more information.
I'm State Representative Greg Nybert. New Mexico ranks 50th in child well-being, and this statistic is not acceptable. Too often we see in the news where a child taken into state custody is returned to an abusive situation only to suffer more abuse, sometimes resulting in death. Chaves County is not immune. Chaves County CASA and its staff and volunteers understand the system and where things go wrong. I have met with CASA to understand how we need to create a better system of caring for abused and neglected children and to break the cycle of abuse. I listen to local experts and then engage the state agency at the highest levels. I will support legislation to bring about positive change. I ask for you to vote for me, Greg Nybert, to allow me to continue to be your effective conservative voice in Santa Fe. Voting begins on October 11th and Election Day is November 8th. Please vote Greg Nybert for State Representative District 59.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Representative, Richard Taylor, Treasurer.
Now through October 31st, all new customers who sign up for Plateau True Fiber Internet will receive their first 3 months of internet for free. With Plateau True Fiber, you have no data caps, no hidden fees, and symmetrical upload and download internet speed. And right now, when new customers use offer code RSWTRA and visit in-store or call 877-752-8328, you will get your first 3 months of Plateau True Fiber Internet for free. That's up to $240 in savings. Plateau True Fiber. Tried, true, trusted. Offer is redeemable only for new Roswell customers in Plateau Fiber eligible zones. Must sign up for 1 year.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. China has more English speakers than the United States. They have more Chinese speakers, too. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock. Joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum. I guess Robert said, I'm taking the morning off. And said, I'm sleeping in. And he said, Ted, you're up. So joining us with the Walker Aviation Museum this morning, Ted Smith with us. Morning, Ted. How you doing today?
Good morning, sir. Before you say anything, I want to tell you how I feel about your radio show.
Well, thank you.
Right now, Bob Sherman's cringing out there. Oh, no, he's off script.
You know, I better watch what I'm thinking.
But the fact is that you have a show that people can listen to with their kids in the car on their way to school and not have to explain innuendos that they hear on the radio and all sorts of things like that. It's a family show, and being family guys like we are, I just want you to know there are people out there that appreciate it, and you'll probably hear from them now that I've mentioned it.
Well, I appreciate
it's a real pleasure to have you in our community.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not going to lie. Some days we're better at it than others, but but thank you very much. It's very nice to hear. I'm not going to lie. Most of the time, people talk to us. I mean, you get people that like us, and I'm not going to sit here and say that. But most of the time, people only reach out if they're mad at us for some reason. So thank you. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, don't let it go to your
head. For folks that aren't familiar, the Walker Aviation Museum is it's really a gem here in Roswell, but it celebrates a history that I think a lot of people that have lived it their whole lives don't realize are part of this community, this local culture, and the role that this community served during the World War II era and the Cold War era. It's pretty impressive, and some of the things that's been done. I mean, I know Robert and I say this every time we talk about bomber crews in World War II, and it's hard to fathom, but you think of all those bombers that were flying, those B-17s, and that were flying over Europe and over Asia during World War II, and a large percentage of those young men in those aircraft spent time training here in Roswell, New Mexico, and to me, that every time I think of that, wrap my head around it, I'm just like, man, because you watch any World War, Memphis Belle, any of those, and just see a sea of B-17s flying, and every one of those, and you think, man, all those kids spent probably time in Roswell at some point. So it's just I think about that every time. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Walker Aviation Museum history and Walker Air Force Base. So we like to bring Ted and Robert on to kind of remind folks that we have this amazing treasure here in Roswell, New Mexico. So if you've never been, I'm hoping by the end of our talk here, you're like, maybe I ought to plan a visit down to the museum here and see stuff. So, but I mean, fill in any gaps I'm missing here, Ted. That's it really is a gem we have here. I know you're a little biased because you're a volunteer there, but it really is a gem.
Oh, it's huge, and like you said about the folks who flew, words can't describe the horrors that those young people went through flying those combat missions.
Yeah.
I did 30 years in the military, and my father did 20 in the Air Force, and I had my mother's Dutch, and when she was 4 years old, her family home was bombed flat in a bombing raid with her mother and two sisters inside.
Oh, wow.
She and her father were out in town in a public bomb shelter, and when they got home, there was nothing left of the house but the front wall.
Oh, wow.
And so they're out in the street crying. She's 4. To this day, she has the worst PTSD of anybody I know. And a miracle occurred. The body recovery guys went in and found her mom and sisters alive in that tiny little cellar.
Holy cow.
Unscratched.
That's an advertisement for that bomb shelter, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But the whole thing is the war was horrors. And
yes,
when you go to graveyards, the military cemeteries in Europe for the thousands of troops who weren't brought home to be buried, you see one of those in that movie, Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
You'll see youngsters from your hometown. They're listed by state and everything, and so very many of them are aircrew. It's shocking.
Yeah.
In 1940, the president called for 50,000 aircraft to be produced, and in 42 he wanted 60,000, and 43 he wanted 125,000, and 14,000 of the pilots that flew those things went through Roswell Army Airfield.
Wow.
It was a big deal.
And speaking of that World War II, the flying crews and all that, one of the other missions at Roswell was the glider crews as well, teaching and for those that aren't familiar with the gliders, first off, I don't know whose idea it was for gliders, but I'm thinking they should demote that guy. But anyway.
An airplane without a motor?
Yeah. And
what
so
could go wrong? Yeah.
On for example, like D-Day invasion, while they're storming the beaches, there's guys in gliders just basically gliding behind enemy lines and getting shot down in flak, and they have no self-defense. They limit an engine to try to land this sucker. You're at the mercy of gravity at this point. And but anyway, a lot of that was done here at Walker too. So
yeah, we trained 1,000 guys for the glider replacement pool. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
that's risky. I like the idea of having engines. I'm sorry, I'm that way.
There's a reason we still use horses and things. We've modernized to more modern advances here. But when we talk about this, and you kind of mentioned, your family and history there, and talking about the PTSD they go through from those bombings and things, and think about that. We, back obviously during World War II, PTSD was. What are you talking about? There's, suck it up, let's deal with it.
Yeah.
There was no PTSD, and that's something that's come in more modern times. But think about that. During a world war, you have generations of people that went through probably major PTSD, and we just chalked it up as, when you hear things like the greatest generation, this is why we say that. Because all the problems you have in your world today, they were dealing it tenfold and didn't have resources to kind of, mentally deal with those kinds of things.
There was a lot of alcoholism and suicide behind the scenes that people don't know about. A lot of guys preferred night jobs where they didn't have to deal with a lot of noise and people. But it's all part of the program. You're a military guy, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Something we know is that when we signed the contract, I know it sounds a little corny, but the fact is we opened a vein and signed it with our blood, and we offered that blood to our fellow citizens. If it goes, it goes.
It's why we respect the veteran.
Yes.
They are willing to do things that others are not, and for that we show that respect. That's just how it works.
Yeah. The World War II guys had to suffer for a long time, but as professionals, you and I know that bad dreams and all that's part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is that, we sure don't want American children to know what children in Baghdad know.
Right.
We would much rather, as the grown-ups, go over there and
handle business.
Yeah, on behalf of everybody else, so that they're not like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
A very innocent preschooler who, saw her world literally just crumble in front of her eyes. And by the way, she married an American airman, even though the U.S. Air Force bombed her house. And in her town, they renamed the street Roosevelt Street. Yeah. And in that town, there's a major military cemetery, an American one. And there's a community of Dutch women who tend the graves of the Americans, the thousands of Americans there, because their moms can't. That's how much we are appreciated overseas.
Wow.
And people just don't get that. People here, there seems to be what am I looking for in words? A tendency to discount our culture and our government and say that we're somehow bad. Go to Maastricht, Netherlands, and you'll hear a different story. They know the names of and the biographies of every U.S. soldier who was killed fighting to liberate their town. And every year on the 29th of September, they celebrate Liberation Day. They're so thankful.
It's one of those things. It's you don't. I think it's a perspective thing, because let's face it, we as Americans, in some way, shape, or form, have done our jobs as far as making a country that people can live and not have worries all the time, like other countries worry. Don't get me wrong and say we're paved with gold and sunshine and rainbows, but we live in a country where you don't have to fear. Well, you didn't have to fear for what you're saying or what you want to do without someone, in a government official form denying you or physically preventing you from doing something.
Right.
And until you've had to experience that, you may not realize how good you have it. And these people in Europe, obviously, especially during World War II, they're dealing with German and Nazi, regime, the Italians, the Axis.
Right.
They're dealing with that stuff, and they know it. They've seen it. They've lived it firsthand. Don't forget, a generation before, they're doing the exact same thing in World War I, fighting and doing this. This is Europe knows.
They do.
Political swings this way and that way, and people in this country don't experience. I mean, yeah, we got some unique times now, but for generations of people don't understand that.
1865 is the last time an American family had to make the kinds of decisions that my Dutch grandfather and grandmother had to make.
Yes. And so that is why this country's great. That is why when people like Ted's talking about here, people that 3, 4, 6 generations after World War II take on the duty, or in their eyes, the duty of maintaining graves, showing respect to people. Let's face it, most of the people, they weren't even on the earth when these people were there. And now they're still doing it because they understand what took place there and realize that, you know what, we probably wouldn't be here doing what we're doing if these people didn't make the ultimate sacrifice.
Oh, certainly. over 100,000 Dutch children starved to death because the German occupiers took their food, took their shoes, their clothes, all of that. Mom's generation in Holland is called the nervous generation. And that pretty much sums it up.
Because it's just that you got to keep a more modern term, but you got to keep your head on a swivel. And when you're expecting to open a door and there's a booby trap or you get punch drunk that way, and that's what happens. So, yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the standard around the world in very, very many places. And the fact that American children can go to school and not go through these horrors.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you this, a lot of the public, most of the public doesn't know that when we take our oath of allegiance to join the service, it's not to the United States. It's not to the president. It's not even to the people of the United States.
Yeah.
It's to the Constitution. And the theory is this: the military stays out of politics. We guarantee the process.
We're supposed to anyway.
By staying out of it, right?
Yeah.
When in countries where the Marine Corps selects your president, those countries are never free again. When you suspend your Constitution, even one time, you lose freedom forever.
Sure.
And our founding fathers knew that this could not possibly be a perfect government. There's no such thing. It's not possible. There are people involved. But they set it up so that we would take turns being in charge, that we would fight our fights in a voting booth instead of up and down the street with weapons.
Absolutely.
And guess what? So long as the last one who was elected, whether he's the dog catcher or the president, was elected through the constitutional process, and so long as the next one is, everything's fine.
Yep.
It's just the way it was planned.
Yep.
So that we could take turns being in charge without having to have violence.
Yep.
Whenever you wonder about that, folks, that's why America's great.
Absolutely. Because you get to do that, say. And let's be honest here, when we talk back about military and things like that, and as Ted was saying, when you raise your hand to swear yourself into the United States military, you're defending that Constitution, not the United States of America, as you're saying here, but what it represents. And this is why it's so important, because, as Ted said, times change. People's desires, wants, those will shift a little bit as time happens. But that Constitution is designed to flow with that. So as people's desires and wants change, that Constitution also keeps up with that, but in a way to protect, not in a way to restrict, to prevent. When we talk, the constitutional amendments and things, that's the very reason for that. Yeah, we can amend it at any time. That's exactly as needed, but you got to do it. And that's, but anyway. But this is what makes this country great, because you can't go to any of these other countries in the world, and even what we quote our allies, our partners, Australia, England. They have some forms, but it's not like here that that you don't still enjoy those freedoms in those countries. Now, it's not like China or Russia where it's more restrictive, but it's still, there's protections you have here that you don't have in England or Australia or things like that, and that's the difference.
It's okay to say God bless America.
Yeah,
it is A-okay.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a couple of things real fast about what the museum's doing in the community.
Yeah, we probably should. I know we get
before we set up a recruiting office.
Knowing Ted and I know me, we're both easy to get off topic. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I want to close up with the actual, honest to goodness, real reason the base closed.
Good deal. Because most of us think it's like most reasons a good base closed, you think, oh, they're trying to save a buck here, kind of thing. So
yeah, I've heard all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Politics and all that, and it's not the case. But at any rate, I'll tell you, the men like Bob Donnell and Bob Sherman,
these guys are the backbone of the museum, and with people like these two, we probably wouldn't have a museum, to be honest. So
very much these men are heroes to me. I'm a historian. I set up a historical holding when I was in the armed forces. And that was just really neat. I'm the gifted amateur guy. I don't have a PhD in history. And I met these fellows, and I went straight to work on history, and I saw them doing something else in the community. First off, these are people who grew up around the base as kids, went on to their careers, and came home, and wanted to help protect the legacies of their fathers and those folks.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of memento material there. But also, they're running a STEM program without that name. They just understand that people need to have technology careers. So they bring in a lot of folks from high school and middle school and Job Corps on field trips, show them some STEM videos, and let them fly the simulators. We have 2 actual pilot simulators in the museum, and not games, right? Actual simulators that you can log. And the idea is to generate an interest in working in the aviation industry.
Absolutely.
Now, I'll tell you that our airport, what is it, RIAC, is the factory for our town. It's huge. It's a big employer.
Absolutely.
And the way to get a good paying job there is to get an A&P certificate from the FAA. It's an airframe and power plant ticket.
That's a valuable piece of paper in your hand once you achieve that. I just from my time in the military, and matter of fact, I'm not going to lie, if I wasn't trying to pursue radio careers and stuff, I might have probably went on and got my A&P license and then,
the nationwide average for starting with an A&P certificate is about $65,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's not bad compared to changing tires in town, right? And the trick is you can just graduate high school, go down to the Eastern New Mexico University on the old air base, take their A&P course, take your FAA test, and go to work in our town's factory. New Mexico will pay for it once you're out of high school. Some of the companies there will pay for it. It's awesome. You're wide open to work around the world or right here at home and have a good paying job. And these folks want the kids in our community to realize that there's a lot more to town.
Sure. Expose them to these opportunities, and so hopefully they get kind of bit with the bug to want to pursue these careers and things. And what I love about, you were talking about the flight simulators earlier, when these kids come from Job Corps or Scouts or whatever organization they're coming in with, if they take that interest and they come, they can actually, you guys issue like a license or like a library card to the ones that want to pursue this more, and on their free time, their own time, when obviously they can't come at 2 a.m, but whenever the thing's open, they can come in, flash that card, and that tells the staff there that this kid's proficient, and they can go and work on their own time, work on their own hours, and as you said, this isn't a toy. This is actually logging for their training, the hours that they have to have in seat time and things like this. This goes towards that. So
right, gas is expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Virtual gas is a lot cheaper than actual gas.
I'll tell you that I think that our airport's about to boom. There are 3 or 4 of the vendors out there that are becoming rated to certify aircraft for flight. Typically, our vendors are subcontractors.
Okay.
And we're on our way to being an actual air depot. It's just booming. And we're going to need the workforce.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, let's actually, because we kind of got sidebarred again, but because I was going to mention, there's so many assets with that huge runway and all that, it really beckons here, but we never really did mention, we were talking about the base closure, and then we got sidetracked.
Okay.
Let's talk about that real reason why the base ended up being closed. It's kind of a unique,
yeah.
Well, it makes sense when you hear it, but the public wouldn't have thought much about it here.
I use the Air Force's historical command's documents on this, so there's no speculation.
Gotcha.
It's the answer, right?
It is the official researched answer here.
Yeah. Our base met every criteria, for never being closed. It was just perfect. Immense good weather. Flying hours, unrestricted flying area. Then when the Cold War began, we're located far away from metropolitan areas, so major metropolitan areas. So
I've noticed.
Yeah. Well, the whole point is you don't want one in downtown Manhattan.
Exactly. Well, less people. If there's an accident, less people get hurt. That's
Roger.
Yeah.
Or, God forbid, the nuclear bomb.
Yes.
The Russians are expected to attack over the most direct route for them, and that's over the North Pole. So the bases in the south, the bomber bases, had more warning time to launch their aircraft.
Okay.
So that was a big deal. We had bases in the north, but they had fewer flying days, and the weather was much harder on their facilities. And if the Russians attacked and it happened to be in the middle of a blizzard, the base in Michigan might not be there for the game.
Sorry, we can't show up to the war. We're snowed in.
Yeah. And I grew up on air bases. You served on them. You get it. It can be like that.
Absolutely.
Everybody thinks that all the Air Force bases are on beaches, and it turns out that that's not the case.
Not all of them.
Yeah. And the other thing was they wanted bases that had room for future expansion in case there were additional missions. And in the 50s and 60s, the Air Force got a notion Department of Defense got a notion to start consolidating bomber bases, put twice as many aircraft on and all that.
Okay.
It used to be we would keep it down to 12 birds on a base, and then they went to 24. So there were a lot of base closing rounds, and Walker always survived. It was just, you couldn't beat it
because it had the great weather. They could bombing. It's all the variables for training worked well here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it came down to a half a dozen consolidated bases, and this was making the Air Force crazy because they don't want all their birds on a half a dozen bases where only a half dozen bombs can get them. They wanted to disperse them.
Sure.
So they're fighting with the DOD about how many bases to have. And by the way, this had nothing to do with the war in Vietnam. All this happened way before that. So in 1964, there was another base closing round where over 100 bases closed, Army, Navy, and Air Force, and only 11 of them were Air Force, and ours was near the top of the list of the ones to keep. It was perfect, right? And then somebody figured something out. It turns out that since we're at 3,666 feet altitude, come July and August, the air gets thin. And the B-52, every B-52 was accompanied by a plane called a KC-135 tanker.
Refueler.
Right, for in-flight refueling. And that was the old 707, Boeing 707 airplane. And it turns out that here they had to cut the amount of fuel, and I'm not sure by how much, but it might be as much as half on the tanker, or it couldn't get off the runway.
Because the air was, okay.
So the end result is somebody looked at the war plans that were specifically assigned to the units here and realized that they couldn't get to Russia, bomb them, and get home because we couldn't take off with enough fuel. And the fuelers couldn't support them on the trip, right?
Wow.
And so the alternative is to add more tankers or move the aircraft to different bases where they could be better supported.
Sure. Well, and you saw the what happened there. Interesting.
So,
but you still would think that they'd recognize the training aspect of this base and want to keep it open. But I guess maybe they can meet those needs at other places.
Yes, the Air Training Command was a whole different outfit.
Yeah.
And this was the Strategic Air Command. And it's a shame, You know what's ironic is the only kind of Air Force planes that typically visit are KC-135 tankers. It's sad they're the ones that closed us.
Yeah.
But it happened that the
bit of irony.
Yeah. The B-52s at that time were gas hogs. Of course, if you're going to fly around the world, and with
they're
that bomb
hulking beasts, let's face it. The
Yeah.
B-52s is the beast.
And so was the KC-135. It was a gas hog. Today's versions have very efficient turbofans, and I kind of wonder if maybe they would work here today.
To be honest, I don't think that's a variable for us today.
No, it's not.
Technology-wise, to be honest.
But it's ironic.
Yeah.
So by 67, they had to close the base because of the technology of the specific aircraft we had at that time.
Wow.
And that's it. She closed, and it was a great tragedy. And when I look at how the RAC is about to just boom we're looking at a successful base closing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I guess, this is where the phoenix from the ashes is what we sit today, and you see that college that's out there, you see all the industry, the companies that, during COVID, our role was very vital to the country. Many airlines stored their benched aircraft that was sitting on the sidelines during COVID. So it's kind of unique how the roles of that area has changed over the years since that base is closed.
Right.
And to me, that's as interesting of the history as it was those bomber crews that called it home in the in the 40s. And
right, history's being made right now.
Yeah,
it's fantastic, and like you say, the price of gas goes up. They park some birds.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of COVID, they park some birds, and now with more and more companies being able to certify birds right back into the air, I sense that we're going to see more turnaround and more aircraft using it.
Absolutely,
it's not the scrapyard people think it is.
I've also heard because we have these, and again, I know enough to know that it's something different, but I don't know enough to know how, jack of all trades, master none thing here. But I've heard that one of the runways, because they have huge runways because of the aircraft, it's some of the biggest in the country. But there is one of those runways that has a certain type of, I don't know if it's the material that the runway's made out of, but it's pilots have to certify on landing on this style runway, and the one here in Roswell is one of the few in the country that they can do that.
Wow.
I don't know all the details. I just have sketchy details, but it's something along those lines.
I'm going to try to chase that down now.
Yeah, there's something about the runway that pilots that have to get tested on it, and the one here is one of the few that has that ability, and I'm not sure. I wish I had more details, but it's something along that nature.
Well, I get a lot of pilots in the museum. I'm going to start asking.
Okay.
The pilots come through. Most of the people we get are basic travelers, but we also get a lot of business people.
Sure.
Aviation industry and energy industry. We spend a lot of time pitching how wonderful Roswell is to those people because many of them are executives with the hope that they'll relocate or establish and see the future potentials here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to say that Mayor Jennings and his guys are doing really good work trying to get the right people in. Folks will rent a building and put nobody in it. That's not what we want.
Right.
We want them to rent a building and hire a workforce.
Sure. We want a breathing, thriving industry going on there. So, good deal. We're running short on time, but I do want to put people on to some of the stuff here. If you want to help the Walker Aviation Museum, volunteering, always looking for more volunteers. I know when Robert comes on, he says they're always looking for some new faces to serve on the board as well, too. And, of course, between Bob and Ted and Robert, they're the ones. The three of you are kind of working as the docents, keeping during flight times for folks to come and visit. They could probably use a couple more people that'd love to do that. So Robert and Ted get a day off every once in a while here, and Bob, but would love to do. So please reach out, and then of course. As Robert says, check go to AA.com and look at the flight schedule, and that's basically when the museum's open. So whenever they got a flight, they usually have it open for folks to come and try to catch the passengers and people coming in and out and do that. But come and visit, see the museum, see. The beautiful thing is now that the way because they've done some remodeling over the years there. And now when you walk in, it's right there, and you can't miss it. Before they had some walls and things, and if you weren't paying attention, you could slip by. But now, if you miss it, you were trying to miss it.
Yeah, we have signs everywhere.
Yeah.
By the way, the Ham Jamboree is coming up at NIMI on the 15th.
Yes.
If you have a Cub Scout or Boy Scout troop that would like to participate in that, I'll give you some more information on that.
Okay.
It's an opportunity. Again, ham radio is kind of like a STEM thing.
Absolutely.
And this is exciting.
It's the best of both worlds because when all else fails, there's ham. And, it's literally, I don't, how many times they lose people up in the mountains or things like that. and it's the ham guys are the only people communicating to get word to these folks, and they do a lot of that stuff. Ham is very, I'm not talking about the meat, it is delicious, but ham radio is very vital, even though in the world of radio technology, it's not exactly cutting edge.
Well, see, and that's what we want children to find out about, by the way, is that a lot of the long haul that you do on ham is done over the internet.
Yeah.
You key the radio and your little handheld, and then you can talk to someone pedaling a 10-speed in England.
Yeah.
It's modern.
It is. It's modern with ancient. It's really the best of melding the early ages of radio with the modern ages of technology, and it's really cool. But anyway, please, the 15th is when they're doing that. Is it at NMMI?
Right.
Good
I'll
deal.
get you more information.
Okay.
There's a scout troop, too, by the way, an aviation-related scout troop.
Okay.
At the airport, sponsored by CAVU and the facility manager.
Okay.
We'll get you some more information about them, too.
Good deal. It's probably one of the, in scouting, they have, activity-specific groups. They usually call them the Explorer Posts.
Right.
And so they'll have them for, like, law enforcement or aviation or farming and ranching, things like that. I remember back in Maryland when I grew up, they had a sailing one where it was guys that were doing sailing. And I was good at the knots, but not the sailing. It's the reason I went into the Air Force. But anyway.
I understand. I can throw up really good in the Chesapeake Bay.
That's right. Absolutely. Folks, if you have questions, information, I'd like to steer you to the Walker Air Force Base Museum's website. It is www.wafbmuseum.org. If you don't remember any of that, just Google Walker Air Force Base Museum, something like that. It'll pop right up. Also, the Walker Aviation Museum does have a Facebook page. Like and follow that, and I love that because you always get feel-good stories from time to time of some youth coming in the area or something like a lot of time Navy or someone will come and do some training here, and they'll come and bring kids out and let them see the refuelers and stuff like that. They got always cool stuff like that going on.
You're not kidding. I had a couple of families in the last month that flew in simply because they had been stationed here in the 50s, and they wanted to come see where they were kids. That's just so neat.
It is cool. I love it. And every once in a while, from time to time, like you'll get celebrities coming through. Looking, I'll never forget. I'm not sure if you're in town here when that happened or not yet, but several years ago, David Copperfield come rolling through town, and he went to the Walker Aviation Museum because I think his dad served there, and he was looking for information about his father. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't ask Robert. I think he was the one who was helping him do all that stuff.
You know, John Denver was born there.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I want to say Robert knew the family or something. Like I think they were chewing the dirt the same time around
Not
here.
surprised. His real name is Dutchendorf.
Yes.
That doesn't roll off the tongue.
I can see why he's John Denver, Dusendorf or Dutchendorf, whatever his name is. But yeah, it's a mouthful. But we're about out of time here. But wafbmuseum.org. Anything we missed we want to get out there before we go?
Not that I can really think of at the moment.
Okay.
Got tons of notes, and of course I left them.
That's why we come every month. Just tell Robert I can handle it this month, or come together. That'd be quite a tag team duo.
There we go.
Awesome, Ted. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you for the conversation. I love these. This is why I love when you guys come on, because I love sitting and telling stories and talking and telling people about life and history. I just love that. That's part of when I'm not cracking dumb jokes, I like talking about that stuff. So thank you. Appreciate it.
And again, thank you for the work you're doing in our community. It means a lot as a parent.
I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad my dumb jokes make a difference every once in a while. It is 7:58.
Afternoon, the two victims were injured. They sought refuge under Zeldin's front porch. The congressman says police tell him the attack had nothing to do with him or his family, and he says no one in his family was injured. A lot of Russian missiles have been finding their way to cities all across Ukraine, including the capital, Kiev. Journalist Sergei Almaz in the Ukrainian capital tells the BBC it's been a scene of utter confusion and chaos.
I woke up and heard the sound of what I thought was an airplane, looked out the window and heard the first explosion. Went out, saw kids running for shelter. There's a school nearby, people frantic. And then a second explosion, I saw big plumes of smoke. went to the first strike site, and I saw businesses and windows shattered, emergency services, police officers were frantic, just yelling, and Kyiv hasn't seen this for quite a while.
Former President Trump continuing to hold big rallies ahead of next month's midterm elections. Mesa, Arizona, scene of his latest event last night. He ripped the Democrats for sky-high inflation.
Under Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the radical Democrat Congress, gasoline prices, congratulations, by the way, in Arizona, are up 86% in a very short period of time, and they're going higher.
Mr. Trump still not saying whether he's going to make a run for the White House in 2024. Stocks lower on Wall Street. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Several Chinese cities imposing new COVID lockdowns and travel restrictions.
Chinese authorities say the number of new daily COVID-19 cases tripled during a week-long holiday. State broadcaster CCTV reports the latest lockdown was imposed today in the northern city of Fenyang after a preliminary positive case was found in citywide testing the day before. The capital of the nearby Inner Mongolia region says outside vehicles and passengers are prohibited from entering the city starting Tuesday. China is one of the few places in the world still imposing harsh measures to keep COVID-19 from spreading. I'm Donna Warner.
In Germany, a government-appointed expert panel proposing a two-stage system for distributing up to $195 billion in subsidies that's supposed to help ease the strain of high gas prices. Townhall.com. After it exploded in popularity during the pandemic, there's now a move to rein in telemedicine.
The Alliance for Connected Care, which advocates for the use of telemedicine, says nearly 40 states and Washington, D.C. have ended pandemic emergency declarations that made it easier for doctors to use video visits to see patients in another state. Now hospitals are warning doctors not to practice medicine in a state where they don't have a license. Some states, like Virginia, have created exceptions for people who have an existing relationship with a physician, and a few, including Arizona and Florida, have generally made it easier. But doctors say the patchwork of rules has led some to shut down out-of-state telemedicine entirely. I'm Ben Thomas.
China criticizing the latest U.S. decision to tighten export controls. The move would make it more difficult for China to obtain and to manufacture advanced computing chips. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos
of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Buenos Monday.
See.
Happy Monday to you. Hopefully you are having a good Monday. Hopefully you had a good weekend despite rain and things on your parade.
You know, we asked for it for so long. We can't really be that mad.
Exactly. We needed the moisture.
It's been real nice.
It was very nice to have all that moisture.
That being said,
it would have been nice not to have it during all the fair stuff.
We're going to... Ooh, it's coming back.
Oh, you getting in the other ear?
Starting to. We're going to need a shop vac for the radio trailer.
Well, we got a new dunk tank, and it's our trailer. It holds water good.
Boy, howdy. Now, I will say this. If nothing else, thank you to the Dallas Cowboys for providing enough T-shirts that I could cover the important electronic equipment on Friday and keep it from getting waterlogged.
Good deal. I'm glad those Cowboy shirts were good for that. By the way, we got a discount on Cowboy shirts.
They were free before. Now we'll pay you to take them.
That's right. They are pre-soaked.
Yes.
We pre-soaked them for you. I bought a new cup yesterday, which I have not. It's in my dishwasher.
Fancy. You wash your cups before you use them?
This one I did.
Okay.
This one, it's I've been wanting like my wife's got her little purple cup that she takes everywhere, and and I'm like, I got my jug.
Yeah.
Which is great for water, but if I just want a sipping,
just a beverage,
a beverage, so I don't have. So I got it's like a 40-ounce white mug, but it's wider and bigger. So I put it in the dishwasher yesterday. Okay. I got to run it, and then but I think I'm going to start carrying a mug around.
The reason that makes me just so happy.
Yeah.
My father, for the majority of the last part of his life, he would walk back before Stripes was Stripes. It was called Town and Country.
Yeah, I remember.
And they used to have the hot spot and the cold zone. You remember that? There was like what they called their beverage selection, the hot spot and the cold zone. I remember this vividly because my father had a white hot spot and cold zone insulated mug that he got from the Town and Country that he carried with him everywhere.
Was it literally a pitcher with a handle?
It was big. It wasn't like a pitcher size, but it was a big white mug that he would always fill with ice water and take it with him everywhere. Because that was his thing. He would always have ice water on him.
Well, that's kind of like I do with that.
That man stayed high. I will say that of anything else, that man stayed hydrated.
Yeah, I tend to drink a lot of water myself. So
I try to. I fail at it.
The jug helps. The jug helps me drink more water because usually, like, I'm here in the middle of the day and let's face it, I don't want to drink up guest water when we have it. So I don't. And there's no other water for me to drink here. I mean, there's a water fountain, but we all know what water fountains taste like around here. That water's
it ain't great.
Hard as all get out. But anyway, so my jug is my source of water. Other than that, although last time I tried to go to the soda machine to get a water, it didn't have any.
No, there's usually like one Gatorade in there.
Yeah, I think they had an iced tea. I was happy about it because, like, all right, I'll get a brisk. Even though I tend to not drink those because of the sugar.
Because they're loaded with sugar, yeah.
But it scratched an itch.
There is a brisk zero sugar, which, by the way, have you tried?
I've not tried. I've seen advertised. I've not seen it on a shelf anywhere.
It's you gotta hit up the Allsups because that's where I found them. It's pretty good.
Okay,
pretty good
maybe
replication.
I'll pour some in my new white mug.
Nice.
So if you see me with a new white mug in the next day or two, that's what that's about.
Nice.
I got a new mug. I bought that.
Your new mug, Mike.
Yeah. It was pretty quiet weekend overall. Just laid low for the most part. Tried to get past this cold, which I feel mostly by. It's just occasionally I start sounding bleh.
Yeah.
But I feel okay.
Right. It'll ease its way out.
Yeah.
And then of course the next one will sweep in because your wife's a teacher.
That's right.
So it's just gonna happen.
I spend the entire winter with a cold usually. So that's kind of just my life. But anyway, I did watch a few more episodes of Beavis and Butthead on Paramount.
Ah, good.
So I've seen 2 more old Beavis and Buttheads. I saw the Stewart episode,
which so good.
Yeah,
he ruins. I'm spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. Butthead gets Beavis is holding in his pee because he doesn't want to get up off the couch.
Yes.
So he gets a kidney infection. Actually, both of his kidneys just pop.
Yeah.
Just explode. And so he's dying. Stuart comes in, donates a kidney, and he decides that his kidney's not cool enough. So he kills it too.
Yeah.
That's so messed up. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dark. But yeah, that show is I still got, I think I'm 2 more.
Yeah, I'm still a few off.
Yeah, I think I got 2 more before I'm caught up. But
I spent most of this weekend. Okay. I now understand that bronies happen organically. Let me explain.
Okay.
My son now requests My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, for viewing material.
Okay. Whatever floats his boat, I guess.
I'm not, it's 2022 and I can't judge, but the kid loves him some My Little Pony.
All right.
So most of this weekend was spent watching whole episode arcs of My Little Pony. Not by
did
choice.
Did Rhiannon get him into this? Or?
I don't think so, because she was into My Little Pony for a little bit, but she moved on.
Okay.
Like I was pretty solidly getting them into Bluey, and then he just decided he wanted to start watching My Little Pony.
All right.
It's like,
well, what everyone do?
Yeah.
I didn't know My Little Pony was still.
Well, they
to
have
kids.
the old episodes on Netflix.
Oh, so that's how it's getting like a resurge.
Mhm.
I was like, people don't care about My Little Pony anymore?
My son certainly does.
All right. Well, wish I'd have known that back in the day. I would have kept all my Little Pony stuff. Might be worth money.
It's on Netflix, man. If you want to reignite the passion.
I don't know the first thing about My Little Pony.
I didn't either until like a week ago.
I know
and
they're
now
ponies and
I know everything.
and they're full of colors. And
I know lore that I shouldn't know.
Yeah. Nice, Roy. That was classic.
I know, dude. All right.
Sorry, Tracy, you had to listen to that. I heard it, and I was way over here. All right, while he relieves his gases, let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Low pressure over western Texas and southern New Mexico, and a lot of moist air available, so scattered showers and thunderstorms coming up for us today. It'll be cloudy, and that'll keep our afternoon high in the low 70s. Some showers and thunderstorms continuing overnight, and we'll drop to about 55, and then high pressure takes over the weather pattern on Tuesday, upper 70s and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 59 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 87%. Winds currently out of the northeast at 5 miles per hour. Today, we do have more rain chances, but I think we're going to dry out after today for a few days, which is a good thing. We do have a 40% chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Could see some more patchy fog here in the AM hours to about 10 this morning. Mostly cloudy for the day with a high near 70. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 40% chance of rain for tonight as well, mainly early evening hours, like before 7 p.m. Mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 54 and south winds 5 to 10. Tuesday, and for the next couple days, no talk of rain. Mostly sunny, 78 for a high tomorrow. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 54 degrees, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. For your Wednesday, sunny, highs once again right around 79 degrees, winds out of the west 5 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny skies, high of 77. Friday, sunny and 78. And then looking at your weekend, sunny and 81 on Saturday. We do have a 30% chance of showers Sunday, otherwise mostly sunny and 73. So today, and then we'll dry out for a few days here with highs pushing upper 70s, near 80 for the rest of the week. So not too bad. Hopefully it won't bring some humidity with it, at least not for tomorrow. Maybe it'll burn off. Probably get a little humidity tomorrow. We don't know how to deal with that, and we'll find out tomorrow. All right, it is 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to take a 4-minute break, and then Tracy Fry with the Roswell Public Library will join us here on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Sometimes we put off important health needs like surgeries because, well, we worry about the pain and time needed for recovery. Dr. Paul Torres, a board-certified general surgeon, has joined Loveless Healthcare Center and is helping patients in the Roswell area get back to the lives they love with less pain and a faster recovery through advances in minimally invasive surgery. To find out if laparoscopic surgery is the best solution for you, call Loveless and make an appointment today at 575-625-3222.
Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to two amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now, I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
The VA reports 149,756 military veterans living here in New Mexico. What doesn't get reported much are steps to improve their quality of life and honor their service. Did you know that major improvements are coming to our only long-term skilled nursing home for New Mexico veterans? Back in July, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham announced $60 million for upgrades and new home-like residences at the state's Veterans Home in Tier C. And she cut New Mexico's income tax on military retirement for the next 5 years. She's invested millions of dollars towards veteran cemeteries, a new Vietnam memorial wall, and towards the construction of a new Navajo Code Talkers Museum and Veterans Center in New Mexico. And she approved major upgrades to the Baton Memorial Park near Silver City this year too. As the daughter of a military veteran, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is a champion of New Mexico vets they can count on. Let's keep her.
Paid for by New Mexicans for Michelle.
Approved by Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 47.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Is this true? I'd say chances are about 50%. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Roswell Public Library, Tracy Fry back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about
Good.
you?
Good. How's life at the library?
It's kind of busy.
Well, see, this is the kind of day that you just kind of want to sit at home and read a book.
Right. If it's actually raining, then it seems like we don't get quite as many.
Yeah.
But right before, if they think rain is coming, we'll get a whole bunch of people coming in to get material.
Telling you, something about a rainy day, kicking back with a book in your favorite chair with your comforter or blanket or something. Yeah, it's kind of Afghan, whatever.
Yeah.
It's that's what I call a good day, you know. so hopefully some are getting able to do that during our rainy weather here and things like that. I know time doesn't necessarily allow that for everybody, but
Yeah.
You know, when you got a day slower because it rained up, you know, get you a good book to curl up with and enjoy for the day. So.
Or a movie.
Or a movie.
Yeah.
Either way, you can get them at the library. So.
Yes.
By the way, you know, we talk about all this stuff that's going on with the library, and this is, you know, we talk about with kids, you know, the world we live in, everyone's post-COVID, and there's so many catch-up opportunities now to get kids kind of back, you know, as far as reading and
Right.
with their STEM-related education type stuff. And I know teachers and everyone in schools are really trying to get kids back to where they're supposed to be at those proper levels and things. But to really make sure this helps and to really cement it, the parents, folks need to kind of do extra stuff here. And this is right now, the Roswell Public Library is your friend on this, because there's so many different ways, whether it's one of your actual like lessons or, you know, like a quilting day or something that's dedicated, or if you're like, my kid just needs extra tutoring help, things like that. Those resources are available to you free of charge through the Roswell Public Library. So when your kid is struggling, and let's face it, all kids are struggling right now. It's just, that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Give them more opportunities to learn this stuff. And let's face it, the library can do it in ways that, because it's not like a teacher at schools assigning a work thing, and this is more fun on your own. It's like, hey, let's learn about space here, or let's learn, you know, about this, and you turned it into a fun thing, and they're actually getting caught up on things that they should kind of already know and be learning right now, but COVID kind of put a back seat to some of this stuff.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So that being said, please listen to some of these events and stuff that Tracy's going to be talking about over the next month here, because all of them are fun, family-oriented type stuff, but at the same time, all more enrichment for your kids, for their education, and for making them better, well-rounded, overall, smarter individuals.
And they're all free.
And all free of charge, absolutely. So I imagine this is a busy month for you guys. Halloween always seems to be a draw to the library with Dia de los Muertos and your various other events that have going on this month. So I imagine it's going to be a busy month at the library.
Yes, this is our busy month. We will have our Dia celebration.
Dia de los Muertos, yeah.
Yes, on Saturday, October 29th.
Okay.
At 10:30 to 1.
Okay.
And we invite everyone out. It was a fun event last year. It was tons of people.
Well, it's really about the history of Dia de los Muertos.
Right.
So if you always wondering, well, why are these people running around with the skull faces and sugar skulls and you know, what is all that about? Well, come to the Roswell Public Library's Dia de los Muertos. They tell you the story of La Llorona, I believe is how it said. I might be mispronouncing that.
I can't do any better.
and learn why Dia de los Muertos is the holiday that it is, and why it's celebrated, and what all the traditions that are behind it, what they mean. And so you get to learn about all of that. And obviously here in New Mexico, that's very much part of the fabric of the culture here.
Yes.
So.
And we have a display in the library when you first come in. We have a glass case, and Diana told me to make sure I mentioned this. It's a display of La Catrina, which is the altar.
Okay.
And it is just a miniature version of an altar, and it'll show you. And when you come on the 29th, it'll be explained what everything is.
The reason for it,
Right.
and why it's done this way.
Right.
Very good.
Right.
So please mark that date on your calendars here.
Right.
Come out. It's fun, family-friendly event. So kids, adults, everybody's going to learn something from this. But obviously the projects and things are more kid-centric.
Because we're going to have the service of remembrance, and we're going to have the meaning of the altars, and then we have Roswell
Folklorico. Yeah, the dancers.
Yes. And then we also, Diana's already creating those sugar skulls, and we're going to have face painting. So.
Oh, cool. So pretty much all the gamut of everything.
Right.
Yeah, if you've never seen the Folklorico dancers, they, I know there's Roswell Folklorico, but I think there's a couple other Folklorico groups out here, and they're all amazing. It's all steeped in the traditions of the Folklorico dancing, which goes into many of the Mexican dances and traditions and things. So it ties in nicely with Dia de los Muertos and all of that too. So, and usually there's a lot of flowing dresses and colors and pageantry involved with the Folklorico dancing. So even if you don't understand per se the moves, it's very beautiful to watch and see.
Right.
So check it out. So. And again, that's the 29th?
Yes, it's Saturday, October 29th between 10:30 and 1.
It's a come-and-go event, but if
Right.
you want to do everything, you might want to get there a little early so you have time
Right.
to fit everything in.
And
So.
I'm not sure what time. Last year we did the what was it? The service of remembrance,
Mhm.
but it was like early. I'm not exactly sure of the time, but if you
Okay.
call the library, Diana could answer your questions about it.
Okay, and as we get close to the event, we'll
Yeah.
be sure to tell more people about
Right.
all the details and things.
Right.
But we want to put it on your calendar now. And
Yes.
It's coming up here in a few weeks. So
Yes, actually, yeah, 2 weeks.
yeah, no, it's going by too quick.
2 weeks. Oh wow. Okay. Let's see what else we have. We still have our story times on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay.
And they're all at 10:30. Our Tuesday one, we also have one at 5:00 for the Spanish version of Mother Goose on the Loose.
So we'll bring them to the English version in the morning.
Yes.
And then the Spanish version in the afternoon.
Right.
And we've talked about this before. I don't care if whatever your first language is for you, it doesn't matter. Bring them to
Right.
both because I think you'll serve that child well if they're bilingual.
Right.
Especially if they're going to live in anywhere in the world, but
Exactly.
particularly here in southeast New Mexico.
Yes.
That's going to be very useful for them down the road.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And then let's see, we have this Saturday, we're going to have gardening at the library with Drew Garnett. He was here last month, and this month he'll be here again. I believe he's talking about wintering gardens.
Okay. So like making sure you're fertilizing and protecting it right. So,
Correct.
So when the hard winter months come in, well, it's New Mexico. We don't get that tundra, but you're protecting those plants, and when they're ready to come back in the spring,
Correct.
they're healthy and ready to roll. So
Right.
good deal.
So he'll be here Saturday the 15th at 10 a.m. and it runs about an hour. So
Okay.
he's open to questions.
Good.
And he's willing to talk. If you have subjects you would like for him to discuss in the future, you can come and you can suggest it, and he will try to fit in.
Absolutely. You know what I love about this is maybe you're into gardening already, but
Right.
you're new to the area. Maybe you grew up in the East Coast or up in New England or on the Pacific, somewhere that's not like New Mexico's climate.
Exactly.
And so you're like, I love gardening, but I don't have a lot of experience in a drier, warmer climate like New Mexico.
Yes.
So obviously that impacts on how and what you plant here compared to what you plant in, say, Minnesota or Chicago or
definitely.
something. And so, if you're new to the area, come out and learn about what works well here and things. Because I imagine even if you're talking like xeriscape and that kind of stuff,
Right.
he's probably got a lot of good information for folks seeking those kinds of answers too. So
Last month he was talking about boll weevils in the pecan.
oh yeah, that's a big issue around
And
here.
That was something that I didn't realize that those little holes in it was the boll weevil.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know
That's
that.
why there's a quarantine on pecans around here, and if you buy them commercially, you're fine.
Mhm.
But if you're getting them from a farm or something, you can't take them to Texas or take them because of those pecan weevils. They're
Yeah.
quarantined, and so if you're dealing with pecans, you own pecans, call the Chaves County Extension Office.
Yes.
And ask for Drew.
Yes.
Drew's the guy. He will look at your pecans. He
Yes.
will tell you if they're infested with weevils or not.
Yep.
And he can help you get pecan weevil traps
Right.
to catch and hopefully mitigate your pecan weevil problem. But yeah, that's if you're looking for more information on what's a pecan weevil, come out to the next gardening event here and learn more about it and do all that.
Yes.
It's really cool. So good deal. Okay, what's next?
And then on Saturday at 11 a.m., we're going to have a movie at the library.
All right.
And that's family oriented. And it's going to be, where is it at? Movie?
Uh-oh, disappeared.
No, it's that one, it's the one that's dealing with the Delos. It has the.
Not the newer one, Encanto, but the one that came out a few years ago.
Right.
I can't remember. I know the movie. I'm seeing the picture.
And I'm looking for
I
the
just
name.
cannot remember the name of it.
Here it is. Book of Life.
Book of Life. That's it. I remember the trailer. It was a huge movie.
Yes.
I don't have kids, so I don't.
Right.
It's not always on my radar, but. And I knew that the Encanto was just like over Christmas time. It come out on
Right.
Disney Plus, and I saw that. So, but I was like, "That's not Dia de los Muertos. That's something different."
Right. Yeah, it's Book of Life, and then afterwards they're going to do a experiment with gummy bears.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So,
very cool. So that's on Saturday.
This Saturday.
This
the
upcoming
15th.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Cool. So come bring the whole family, watch a free movie, and then and partake in the gummy bear craft afterwards.
And then on the 22nd, the following Saturday, they're going to do a STEM activity called Phases of the Moon with Oreo cookies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
By the way, did y'all notice the full moon this morning if you got up early enough?
I didn't wake up.
Being a morning show radio guy, it was dark coming into work. I mean, we had the full moon out there, and if it was an Oreo, I would have grabbed it and ate it. But cool. But learn the phases of the moon, what that means, how that impacts science. That's it.
Oh, yes.
You know, when you talk about, I know we live in New Mexico, so you don't think much about high tides and low tides and things like that around here. But that moon phase impacts all of that stuff. So if you're on the coast of a continent or something, you're paying a close attention to low tide, high tide, moon cycles and things, because that's the difference between your boat having a place to dock and your boat sitting in some dirt.
Exactly.
Or vice versa, your boat sitting in your living room.
Right. Oh, no.
So, but very cool. So learn some of that too here. And what's the date of that?
That's on the 22nd.
22nd. So that's that week before the Dia de los Muertos.
Right. So these are Saturday events.
That's Saturday before.
Yes.
Perfect. Every Saturday there's stuff going on. So you just kind of plan, hey, what's going on at the library this Saturday?
Right.
You get, come by the library, pick up the calendars,
calendar.
And you can put them on your fridge. Or if you're more of a digital high-techy person, like and follow the Roswell Public Library Facebook page or Instagram page.
And we also list our programs on the Roswell events.
Okay.
And
the
so
events and happening page and all that. And I think, of course, if you go to through the city, the Roswell Library's website periodically, you'll see the updated calendar there too.
Right.
But if you want something simple, come by the library. Each month they print off a new calendar.
Right.
You could take one home, put it on your fridge, and then that way you can plan accordingly.
Yes.
What Saturdays you want to make sure you're at the library, or Wednesdays or Thursdays or any of the other dates that some of the events that are going on there. So good deal.
So speaking of Wednesdays, October 19th, we have 4-H come to the club, to the library.
Awesome.
And so the October 19th, we'll have them there, and they come. And I'm looking at the time, and there's no time on here. Because the kids get out of school, so they would have to call the library to find out the time that 4-H.
Probably about 3:30 or so, 4
right.
o'clock.
I know the elementary schools get out early on Wednesday, so
Wednesdays they do. I think they're out at like 1:45 or something.
right. So I'm not too sure.
So maybe in the 2 o'clock hour or something.
Something like that, but they can call the library.
And next time I have 4-H in, which they come in once a month too, I'll pin them down and say, hey, what time is your library event?
Thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that week also, the 20th, Thursday, October 20th, we have our adult book club.
Oh, good.
And this month, we're reading The Descent of Elizabeth Franklin.
Okay.
Elizabeth Frankenstein.
Oh, Frankenstein. I was like, is this Benjamin Franklin's wife?
No.
So this is Dr. Frankenstein's wife.
Yes.
Awesome. Don't hear much about her in the story of Frankenstein.
Right. It's a young adult book, but it was very interesting, and it kind of tied in the Frankenstein. So I decided.
So is it like a perspective, like what's your husband doing in the basement kind of thing?
It was her perspective of what was happening,
why
why he was missing, what was going on with him.
Okay.
So
it's almost like putting a normal human spin on, which is a horror story, a long told horror tale, that's been for generations and generations and generations.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, this is like the normal side of it. It's like, what's going on? By the way, your husband's building a zombie in the basement. What are you doing tonight?
Do you check the basement?
Yeah, it's like you down there with
Do you wonder what's going on?
I mean, back in the day, they probably did have laundry rooms and stuff down there because it was a different time. But did you go down in the basement for anything while you're down there? So
did you hear strange noises?
I do always like stories of especially stories, the small stories surrounding a big event or something, it's kind of like, there's that Spike Lee movie. I think it's called Get on the Bus. And I think it's about the Million Man March.
Right.
And so the movie's not really about the Million Man March.
No, it's
has nothing to do with the Million Man. That's the backdrop. it's about the setting of a group of people trying to get to D.C. for the Million Man March.
And them clashing on the bus.
And then their stories and
Right.
like you say, and their agreements and disagreements.
Right.
And to me, that was kind of neat. So I feel like this Mrs. Frankenstein's book
Right.
is kind of in that same vein where it's like, while all this stuff's going on, here's what's happening in the rest of the world around that, you know? And so I think it's kind of in that same vein.
I read Frankenstein in college, so when I saw this, I was like, I don't know if I want to read it. And then I started reading, I was like, oh, it is tying in a little bit. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So is it still time to sign up for book club to this one? We haven't started this one yet, have we?
Right. It's gonna happen on October 20th. So if you
got between now and then to read it.
Correct. And we have the books available at the library. So just come to the circulation desk and borrow a book.
And it's called Elizabeth Frankenstein.
The Descent.
The Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. So it's her basically going from normal to crazy?
Well, maybe she was already there.
Maybe.
I'm not going to say.
Yeah, we didn't start where she started from to descend, you know. We just assumed it was from a normal place. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it went from crazy to off the rails. I don't know. But that's why you read the book and then you discuss it. And that's the part. If you never participated in book club before, that's the beauty of it is you get to read it and you have your own interpretations and ways. And then you get together with other people that read the same book you did and might see it from a different angle than you did. Or from the exact same angle. I mean, hey, I'm pretty close, but you thought of this that I didn't think of, and now that kind of changes my thinking because of that. I didn't think of that caveat in there, you know, and that's what book club's all about. It's to kind of make you think about what you read and force you sometimes to see it from a different perspective. And that's how you grow and become better people and at the end of the day, smarter and more experienced in life.
Yeah.
So.
And it's pretty laid back, so it's not like it's academic where you're just sitting there and
people aren't like ready to fight to the end on their stairs. They're just like, you know, that's an interesting read. I took it this way and I didn't, but now you say it that way, it makes more sense the way you said it, or you know what?
Or I didn't think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So please, you know, why do you think there's Bible study every Wednesday night in every church in America? They're studying the same book because there's so many different ways to read a book and how to take things from it. And so people lifetimes trying to understand a book. The Bible's probably the most popular one that does that. But there are many other people that do that all the time. So so book club is like a little version of that a little bit. So,
yes.
So come try it out. Try it out with The Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. Sounds like a good place to start for people that love, you know, horror. Frankenstein. It's a classic.
Exactly.
You know, everyone's heard of Frankenstein. Here's kind of a different perspective of that story. It sounds like so very cool.
Yes.
Have you read it all yet?
Yes. I'm gonna just reread it, but I read it. I always pre-read before I choose a book, and then
Well, you got to. Yeah. You gotta know what you're recommending or asking people to read. And you better be familiar with it yourself. So that makes sense. But, so I won't spoil it from you, but initial impression, was it blowing away, or were you like cemented feelings, or just personally for you? Did it force you a new perspective, or did it kind of cement what you thought of the story to begin with?
It kind of weaved some of the original story in, but then it kind of went a different way, which wasn't really her he wasn't in the basement there. He was in a factory somewhere else.
Yeah, we all think basement and things,
but he was somewhere else working, and she went looking for him, and then it was like this. What in the world's going on with him?
Right.
And we kind of knew.
But you're kind of thinking, well, is she crazy or he crazy? Are they both crazy?
Or is this whole city that they in a little off?
Yeah, and they're the normal ones in the world. You know, it's interesting. So please check out the book.
Yes.
And then get it read between now and the next couple weeks here.
October 20th.
And then come on the 20th to the book review book club.
And it's at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. at the library.
Yes.
Doesn't cost anything. Cost you anything. You got to have the only rule or requirement is you have to have a library card and be in good standing with it, which is free of charge to sign up unless you got a card free and then didn't turn in books, and you might have $5 on there, but you might have to pay that off. So but if you haven't done that in 20 years, they probably forgot about you, and you could get a fresh start. But you know, after so many years, if you're like, I got a library card in 1992, Well, they probably don't have it on file if you've not used it since
there
1992. Now, if you've been using it on the regular since 92, then you're in. But if you haven't,
yes,
that stuff got purged a while ago.
And if you had a library card and you misplaced it, you can come into the library and get a replacement. And it's free.
Yeah.
So you just show your
Now,
ID.
if you make a habit of that, they might charge you at some point. But, if you're coming in every week, I lost my card. I'm like, first get a wallet and let's put this in there so you stop losing this thing.
Exactly.
But good deal. Is there any other events we want to make sure we get on people's radar?
I just want to say that on Halloween, October 31st, if they come in the library between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Okay.
And the children say trick or treat, you'll get a
All
treat.
right, so trick or treat at the library all day.
Yes. And some of us will be dressed up.
Okay, so come in costume if you want.
Yes.
Or you don't have to, but you got to say trick or treat, and
right.
you got to play by the official rules of trick or treating and request trick or treat, and they will give you a treat. They will not trick you.
Yes.
They will make sure you get a treat that you will enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Something that your parents will probably say, don't eat all at once.
No, I'll hold that for you.
That's right. But yeah, come out and do a little trick-or-treating on the 31st.
Yes.
When you're in
on
that
Monday.
area during the day.
10 to
Obviously,
6.
Yeah, after 6 when the library closes.
Then we're not doing it.
Yeah, then you go to your neighborhoods and trick-or-treat by that time.
Yeah, that's true.
So do all that. But yeah, and don't forget, the library is your resource for, if I know we're in the fall here, but right after the end of the year, people are going to start thinking about taxes and all that.
Right.
They're going to be helping out with that in the spring as they always do.
We'll get the forms.
Or winter, whatever you want to call that.
Right.
And then, of course, if you need help,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a college student needing tutoring, if you're just an adult looking to enhance your own knowledge of things, if you're looking for reading for pleasure, if you're looking to watch movies and things, but you don't want to, the Blockbuster closed on you and you're like, I don't do streaming digital. I don't know all that stuff. The library can help you out with that. And they can do the streaming digital too. You can, if you like the high tech, you can go to the library's website and download and utilize a lot of source materials that are available to you free of charge, as long as you have a library card and in good standing. And you can technically check that stuff out, not actually set foot in the library. So those are other resources available to you free of charge just for making sure you got a library card. So go get one if you don't have one.
Yes.
And then come and even if you're like, I got nothing important I want to do, I'm just, you're right, it's starting to rain. I'd like to find a new book. And by the way, I don't feel like paying $30 for a new hardback copy. Or, whatever. I'm going to go and I can go find the latest Stephen King or Grisham or whoever you're into right now at the Roswell Public Library. So come check it out.
On the 31st, also, we have just started having Medicare representatives come in, and you just have to give us a call. I believe the time she's coming in is at 1 o'clock on the 31st.
Okay.
And you can make an appointment if you have questions about Medicare. That person will be there to help you.
Okay. Answer those questions that way, because we all know that gets confusing. And then, of course, the November time frame's around that time where people pick new plans that are going for their plans and all that, and your deadlines for getting registered and all that's coming up here. So look for help through the library. Once again, if you're having issues there and not knowing where to turn on that, the library, again, is a resource to help you navigate that or put you in touch with people that can get that information to you. So. And then, of course, if you, I will even offer this out there, because I know there's some people, some volunteers in our community that do a lot of cool stuff. They go on trips or they do things, and they actually do public speaking or share their stuff at the library. If you are one of those people that maybe you travel, or maybe you've written a book, or maybe you've, you have a unique, cool hobby that you would love more that doesn't involve destroying the library, you're like, I got this paint we throw on walls. Like, no,
that's not going to work.
But you know what I mean? If you got cool stuff that I think the community would enjoy and reach out to the library. They're always looking for new opportunities at a local level to get more people involved with the library. So.
Yesterday we had Felix Galante come over to play music, and we had a few people come through, but next month we're going to have J.D. Cox, and and that's going to be November 13th. It's always on a Sunday.
Okay.
And
to come out, enjoy the music, local flair, local music.
We have coffee. We just
maybe
relax.
After church or before you go to church, depending on when you go to church.
2:30.
Yeah, so probably after church for most. So go to church, have lunch, and come on by for afternoon of music and or reading and quiet or whatever you're into.
Right, and we even had a little craft for the kids that came. If they wanted to do a pearl beads, we were doing that for the kids so that the parents could listen to music and they can do a little craft.
Good deal. So please get the calendar that Tracy's got here. Pick it up at the front desk there. They put one out each month here, so the October one's out now, and look for the November one here in a couple of weeks.
Right.
And just grab that, put it on your fridge, and you're like, oh, don't forget, this is the Saturday for this, or this is the Wednesday for story time, or this is, and that way you're reminded of it, and you don't miss them. And trust me, especially those story times, the preschool story times, that is such a great way to springboard your children's reading skills.
And also teaches the kids how to socialize with other kids. They'll meet friends. And
so, I mean, if your kid is, whether you homeschool or they're before school or that, you know, whatever it is, expose them to as much of this as you can, because it's going to make them a better, well-rounded they're going to learn. And trust me, you're giving them the tools to be awesome, successful adults by doing this kind of stuff. So please reach out. And to be honest, they're going to have fun. I mean, initially you might be like, I don't know. And then they get there and then they start doing the crafts. And doing, next thing you know, you're going to be like,
they're doing this.
It's time to go home. No, I don't want to leave. Yeah, you're like,
well, actually, that's what happens. They come and they might not be at the first initially excited about the story time, but then after they're there for a couple of weeks, they make friends with the kids. And then, like, we always have a scavenger hunt where they can search for pictures and they get a prize.
Part of the routine.
Right. And then they play on our play area that we have in there, the car they drive and what have you. So
it's amazing because it's definitely giving them people skills. It's getting them learning, learning new information skills. It's getting to teach them how to interact with others.
Yes.
In a world where everything's done behind a computer screen now, you lose a lot of human interaction, face to face, touching, being in a room with an adult or a person and talking with them, and hey, and you put an arm on their shoulder or something. That's we have generations of people that's all foreign to, because everything's done behind a screen. And humanity needs that side.
Yes.
We can't live on our phones our whole life. You need contact. No. You need to talk to people. You need a hug every once in a while. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's humanity. And so where they're going to lose some of that in other aspects of life because just how we do things now.
Right.
We need to go out of our way to put that back in, because it's so important for the overall growth and well-roundedness of that human being.
Right.
To have all that.
Yes.
And this is how you set the table for critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, all the things that, let's face it, we have a generation of kids that are lacking in some of these skill sets. And this is how we get it back, is doing stuff like going to the library on Saturday and going to story time or going to a fun music event or something like that.
Right.
Come and do, and again, it's all free of charge.
Right.
Doesn't cost you a dime. All you got to do is get there, and you can get there by the bus or drive.
And
or
it's not a long period of time that you're there. Like story time's only an hour.
Yeah.
So STEM is a come and go. So you just come and do your STEM activity, and then you leave.
Yeah, go about the rest of your day.
Exactly.
Enjoy whatever else you were going to do, or whatever. But please utilize that library. It's a beautiful resource, and don't forget, adults. There's a lot for you to do too. I know we're talking about get kids in there and come out to these things, but your own mental health might need some of this too. Come in, if you're lonely or looking for things to do, and sometimes reading, getting activities that help nourish also help deal with some of those other issues you're having problems navigating with. So please, and guess what? You might come to book club and make a friend, and you're like, oh gosh forbid, I love reading the book, but you know what? Now I got someone to go to lunch to on Thursdays or whatever it is,
Exactly.
And that's the fun part. So come have some fun with us. Come meet some people. Come read some books. Come do things that are a little out of what you normally
hear
do.
music on a Sunday, whatever.
Yeah, come out, listen to talks, or come and it's just a great way to do it. Again, probably your best resources to stay up to date is getting that calendar, put it on your fridge at home. But liking and follow the Roswell Public Library Facebook and Instagram pages are equally good ways to kind of get that to you. Don't forget, you can always go to the Roswell Public Library's main website, which is through the city of Roswell's website. If you go to roswell-nm.gov, there's a tab there for the library.
Yes.
Click that. There is a /405, but I don't remember what that is. So just go to or Google Roswell, New Mexico Public Library.
Okay, yes.
Because we put the NM, you might get Georgia, and they have a lot of cool stuff there, but that's a long haul to get to that library from there. So. Good deal, sir. Anything else we missed? Did we get everything in?
I think we got everything in.
Give out the phone number and the hours for anybody who might have those kinds of questions.
Okay, our phone number is 575-622-7101. Our hours are Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And Sunday is 2 to 6.
Yeah, and that's new. We're back open at Sunday hours and things. That was recently added here in the last month or two.
Correct.
So we're back to a full 7-day-a-week schedule at the library here. So the excuse that you had before will not work. The library is now open every day. You can go just about any day, all day, between 10 a.m. and really 6 p.m. every day, but 7 p.m. during, Monday through Thursday there. But you can come every day, check out books, come, even if you're like, I just want to go find a corner of this building, grab me a book and sit there and read for 2 hours.
You can do it.
Come on down. Come enjoy it. Come find you a spot or find a magazine or grab, got all the newspapers and periodicals. So if you're like,
we even have a puzzle out for adults.
Oh, cool.
So we have adults that come in and
just
before
want to
they
work
get
on a
their
puzzle?
Right, before they choose their books, they'll go and sit down and try to put a few pieces together, and then they go choose their
I
book.
like that because I like the concept of putting puzzles together, but I don't always want the commitment of spending hours and hours to commit to building this thing.
Yes.
But if I just walk in every once in a while, I'll be like, ooh, and satisfy that itch of, made a piece fit. All right, cool. Now I can move on about my
and
day.
then come back and say, let's see how much is done.
Yeah. It's like, you can't start in the middle. You got to work on the edges. That's the rule. And then you start working on the edges. But I love that because everyone contributes. And I think when you're done with those, just put them in a frame and then put them. We'll call them our community puzzles. And this was the one from November. This was the one from.
We don't have that much wall space.
Yeah, you probably don't have much room. You get to get an archive facility for those. But very cool. Maybe auction them off for the library funds. But again, stay up to date. Stay involved. Come by the library. Utilize it. Again, everything they provide you is free of charge. All you got to do is get a library card and keep it up to date by turning in your stuff on time. And, so if you don't have a card, come on down front desk. They'll take care of you. If you haven't had a card in probably the last 10 years, or you have a card but haven't utilized it in about 10 years, you probably don't have a card anymore. So you might want to come and check on that. And if not, then they'll be happy to help you out with all that and get it reestablished.
They can call us and see if their card is still,
and
active.
If not, we just come and get it activated.
Right.
So, no big deal. It's just pulling out application with your address and everything, and a way to contact you in case you forget to bring stuff back. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think we got it all here.
Yes.
I think I was trying to, one more thing. I was like, we'll catch it next time.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Tracy. As always, appreciate the visit, and we'll see you here next time in a few weeks, I imagine.
Yes.
Talking about a whole new slurry of events and things that are coming up here.
Yes.
So good deal. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Don't work too hard. Stay dry. Still might get wet today, so there's a chance. It is 9:54. Let's get you into Wall Street Update. Quick break before we wrap up the show. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Another large business is leaving Chicago.
Chicken giant Tyson Foods says they're done with the Windy City, and starting next year, they'll be shutting down offices downtown and a suburb and moving them to their complex in Arkansas. About 1,000 employees affected. Tyson joins a growing list that includes aircraft maker Boeing and construction manufacturer Caterpillar, moving to Arlington, Virginia, and North Texas, respectively. Crime in the city has seemingly run rampant under progressive Mayor Lori Lightfoot's administration. Rhonda Rockstra reporting.
Columbus Day is no holiday for Wall Street. The stock market is open today and started the day in positive territory. That's despite concern about the future direction of interest rates, fears that the Fed is not through with big interest rate hikes. This year's Nobel Prize in Economics awarded to former Fed Chair Bernanke and two other U.S.-based economists. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist, and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
It's October, and that means it's time to paint Roswell Honda pink. We partnered up with the Chaves County Cancer Fund to help raise much-needed money, and we are gearing up for another amazing year. Roswell Honda is giving away some great prizes, including 3 Michael Kors designer purses, pretty in pink, of course. Stop by for a free entry or 3 entries with a qualified test drive. And that's not all. With new inventory arriving daily and over 100 quality pre-owned vehicles on the lot, there's never been a better time to get behind the wheel. Here's Joe Salzar to tell you all about it.
Don't let vehicle pricing rumors fool you. With Roswell Honda's market-based program tool, we are making it easier than ever to get the best deal in southeastern New Mexico. And with every vehicle sold in the month of October, we will donate $50 to the Chaves County Cancer Fund.
Join us Saturday, October 29th from 10 to 1 p.m. We will have a special performance by the Charlie's Angels. Bring cash to support the cause and purchase goods from our many vendors. Help us make it happen for the Chaves County Cancer Fund, and let's paint Roswell Honda pink.
Have you noticed the days are getting shorter? This is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but we're on the downhill side of the year, so every day is a couple of minutes shorter than the one before, even though your plants need plenty of food and water to keep them healthy. Like those globe willows that are turning yellow. A good dose of the right fertilizer will make them bright green again. No matter what the problems you're having, we probably have a cure at Roswell Seed Company, but come see us soon, because winter's coming, you know.
I'm Michelle Garcia Holmes, and I'm running for United States Congress. As a former policewoman, I put on my Kevlar vest, uniform, gun belt, grabbed my 12-gauge shotgun, jumped into my police car, and hit the city streets to keep you safe. I want to do the same for you in Washington. I'm asking for your vote on November 8th because our families deserve safe cities, a secure border, and lower gas prices.
Donate today at GarciaHolmesForCongress.com. Paid for by Michelle Garcia Holmes for Congress.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 9:59. That's going to about do it for us for today's show. Of course, if you missed any part of our show, I invite you to check it out at your leisure. Log on to ksvptv.com. Click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel. You'll find all of our interviews there. You also find them on our 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM Facebook wall and our Roswell's Talk FM YouTube channel as well. We'll be back bright and early, 7 a.m. tomorrow with an all-new show. Probably a little sunnier tomorrow, I'm guessing, which will be a nice change of pace. Although I'm still digging the cloudy. I'm not ready for more sun. I kind of dig the clouds, but I'm weird like that. All right. Have an amazing day. Thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of your day. You don't know how much that really does. Greatly appreciate that. So thank you, guys. Have an amazing day. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Take care, everybody.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Russia's military have hurled a barrage of missiles against Ukrainian cities, including